off with 24 monthly bill credits and qualifying new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Contact us before canceling your entire account to continue remaining bill credits. Bill credits end if you pay off device early. See details at T-Mobile.com.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential. But finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. Nobody in Kansas City has sports like 96.5 The Fan.
Right side throw, touchdown! Kansas City, a 3-yard touchdown pass in overtime. Kansas City wins the game.
Welcome into The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
Back-to-back best sports talk hosts as voted on in the Pitch magazine.
Live from the Fan Studios. Here's CDOT.
Let's do this. Another day, another dollar, another edition of The Drive. You were listening to The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, 96.5thefan.com, and also the Odyssey app. My name is Carrington Harrison. Excited to be here. Rob is here as well. We are going to start today's show a little bit different than we usually would. Let me give you the 411 on what we have planned. Bonte Hill is going to join us coming up in a bit. He does radio in San Francisco. Michael Silver, one of the best sports writers to ever cover the National Football League. He is going to be on the show. He is based in the Bay Area. Nate Taylor is going to be in studio. There is a lot of stuff for us to get to. And K-State fan, I promised you guys that we would talk a little K-State football today. I don't want you to feel left out. We had a KU person on the show. We had a Missouri person on the show. We do not exclude on the drive. We are going to have John Kurtz coming up in about 35 minutes or so. We're going to get his thoughts on the Wildcats as they have another road game in the Big 12 against West Virginia. We are going to start with Sunday's game between the Chiefs and the Niners. We're going to do it a little bit differently than you would probably expect. I got hot takes today, but I just want to start today's show with a little different energy. I'll explain here in a bit, but first, let's give you a chance to win a pizza.
Pizza time on the drive. Carrington, dial me up right now. Call number 6, 913-586-7965. They win a pizza from our friends over at Pizza Tassio. Pizza Tassio is Kansas City's best New York-style pizza, and they have taken over the town. They lovingly use 100% whole milk mozzarella with all organic tomato sauce and locally grown fresh ingredients, all made by KC guys who both know and love pizza. So whether you're in the mood for a whole pie or just a slice or two, be sure to check them out today at pizzatasio.com. That's pizzatascio.com.
I need you guys to do me a couple of favors. Number one, I need you listening to The Drive each day at 2 o'clock right here on 96.5 The Fan. Number two, I need you to tell one friend. I don't need you to tell two friends that if you want some of the best pizza in Kansas City, you're also excited about Chiefs football getting things back going after the bye week, the best place to do that is with us right here on 96.5 The Fan. Rob, this is how I would like to kick today's show off a little differently. Now, I am picking Kansas City to win this game, and over the course of the next 4 hours, I will tell you exactly why I am picking the Chiefs. But one thing has kind of been a theme in my life over the course of the last week. Whether it was talking to Joe Shasky, I've been texting back and forth with Bonte Hill. He's going to be on the show coming up in a little bit. Earlier, getting a chance to talk to Mike Silver. One thing has just continued to come up in thinking and discussing this game, how the Chiefs, and more specifically Patrick Mahomes, have just been a thorn in the side to not just San Francisco, but to the rest of the league. So this is how I would like to start today's show, Rob, with a little bit of different energy. You remember watching The Last Dance, and it was basically just a parade of people who Michael Jordan stopped from winning a championship, whether it was Reggie Miller, whether it was Patrick Ewing, Gary Payton, whoever it was. These were guys that thought they had a chance of sitting at the top of the mountain like Charles Barkley. But you know what? Michael Jordan came around and crushed the buildings, and those guys never won a championship. This is how I would like to start today's show. Who do you think secretly walks around with the biggest beef towards Patrick Mahomes? Do you think it's Kyle Shanahan, who is 0-2 against Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl? Do you think it's Josh Allen, that as good as Josh Allen has been, he has never been able to beat Patrick Mahomes in a game that's truly meaningful? Do you think it's Lamar Jackson, who has all the personal accolades that you can have, has very few of the postseason accolades? Or do you think it's the rest of the AFC West, as it looks like we are heading towards part 2 of the New England Patriots dominance? You guys remember, for 20 years, the Patriots dominated the Jets, dominated the Dolphins, dominated the Bills. As long as you played in the AFC East, you knew you had no chance of winning that division, and you were going to have to go on the road for every single postseason game. So that's how I would like to start off today's show. 913-586-7965. Who do you think walks around with the biggest hatred, the biggest chip on their shoulder towards Patrick Mahomes? His name comes up, and you don't even want to discuss Patrick Mahomes. Somebody secretly has the Jamar Chase feeling towards Patrick Mahomes. Man, I don't like that guy. And your only reason for not liking him is that he's better than you. I've told you guys this before. Everybody has a Patrick Mahomes in their life. There was somebody when you were in school that was just a little bit smarter than you. There was somebody when you were in school was just a little bit faster, a little bit stronger. The girls were more interested in them than they were in you. And you secretly low-key hate that person. You understood why they were better than you, but you know what? I just don't like that individual. So these are the 4 options, I think. Because I didn't want to put Joe Burrow in his, because Burrow has actually gotten the better of Patrick Mahomes before. These other 4 individuals or groups have not. Do you think it's Kyle Shanahan who has the biggest beef? Is it Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, or the rest of the AFC West? Rob, I will give you first up. I'll give you the first pick, 913-586-7965. I will read your text. We got Bonte Hill coming up in a bit, and we'll ask him this same question. Who do you think walks around with the biggest beef? Who do you think it is, Rob?
I think it's Josh Allen for a couple reasons. One, I could easily argue the reason that Josh Allen doesn't have a ring already is because Patrick Mahomes exists. I think if they had won the 13 seconds game, the Bills are probably in the Super Bowl that year. If they had won the AFC title game against the Chiefs in 2020, they're obviously in the Super Bowl that year against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think they might even win that Super Bowl against the Buccaneers. I think, first and foremost, Josh Allen doesn't have jewelry, and that's Patrick Mahomes' fault. Secondarily, and we talked about it earlier in the week about how he's in a weird spot. Josh Allen is great. He is on a Hall of Fame trajectory, and he is probably playing the best quarterback in the National Football League right now. But everyone still ho-hum about his accomplishments, yawn, who cares, about how great he looks, and shrug their shoulders. We don't care you're the best right now because we know you aren't the best. In a world where Patrick Mahomes doesn't exist, Josh Allen is fawned over at that level. Josh Allen is that level of celebrity. Josh Allen might be the biggest deal in the National Football League, but Mahomes does exist. So he's always the bridesmaid and never the bride. So I think Josh Allen has the beef because of when he thinks of his career, it always is in the shadow of Mahomes. And if there was no Mahomes, there's no shadow. So I'm going to say Josh Allen.
I'm going to pick Kyle Shanahan for a couple of different reasons. When you think about the 2 losses that they have in the Super Bowl, they are in some ways iconic defeats. There's some teams that lose in the Super Bowl and we just never talk about it. We never discuss it again. It just kind of happens, right? Think about the first loss between these 2 teams. San Francisco had a 20-10 lead late in the fourth quarter. Late in the fourth. And Patrick Mahomes takes them down the field. It's 3rd and 15, and they score a touchdown in your 20-10 lead. You then lose the game 31-20. Like, I know we talk about the Chiefs winning in a double-digit fashion. We don't talk nearly enough about how the Chiefs were down 20-10 with 7 minutes and 26 seconds left when Jet Chips Wasps happens, and the Chiefs then score 21 points in the final 7 minutes and 45 seconds of the game and dominate San Francisco. You then get another chance against the Kansas City Chiefs. You get one final chance in the Super Bowl. Who knows if you'll ever get back to the Super Bowl? Who knows if you will have a better chance than you did in the Super Bowl? You had a 10-3 lead heading into half. You have to get one stop at the end of the game. Now, sure, it was going to be difficult, but you had one stop at the end of the game. That's all you needed. You kick a field goal. Rob, the San Francisco 49ers had a 19-16 lead with less than 2 minutes to go in the Super Bowl, and Patrick Mahomes takes them down the field, 11 plays, 64 yards in less than 2 minutes, and they win oh my goodness, and they beat you in overtime. It has to be heartbreaking. I hear you on Josh Allen, but Josh Allen has lost to Patrick Mahomes on the second and third biggest stages. There is no bigger stage than the Super Bowl. There is no bigger stage than that final NFL game of the season, and he has ripped your dreams away from you 2 separate times. I bet Kyle Shanahan hates Patrick Mahomes. He's at the top of my list. So 913-586-7965, starting today's show a little bit different than how we usually would start it. Who do you think walks around in the league with the biggest chip on their shoulder towards Patrick Mahomes? Do you think it's Kyle Shanahan? Is it Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, or the rest of the AFC West that just know that at least for the next 15 years, you were just playing for second place? It doesn't matter how good of a team you have. It doesn't matter how great of a season you have. You are not winning your division, and you are going on the road for 3 consecutive weeks to try to make the Super Bowl. As long as Patrick Mahomes has been in this division, he has won the division, and it's never necessarily been that close between the Chiefs and any of these other teams. We'll ask Bonte Hill this question coming up in a bit. How deep is the hatred between these two teams? How deep is the hatred between San Francisco and Kansas City? We'll also get his thoughts on San Francisco as they have started off the season 3-3. What's gone wrong with the Niners? That's all coming up. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
In support of breast cancer awareness, all the Twin Peaks girls will be switching it up with pink plaid on Tuesdays and Wednesdays this month. Come to your favorite lodge and show your support for this great cause. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views.
Hi, we're your friends who get super excited about the holidays.
We sure are, or this isn't the ugliest holiday sweater ever.
People think we're happy because we love peppermint lattes.
Or catching snowflakes on our tongues.
But really, it's because
it's Holiday Millionaire Raffle season!
It's your best odds to win $1 million.
That's dollars, not twinkling lights, but that would be great too.
Play the Kansas Lottery Holiday Millionaire Raffle. Get excited!
See kslottery.com for details.
Right now, 38 states allow for sports betting, including 7 of Missouri's neighboring states. Amendment 2 gives Missouri sports fans the freedom to bet on games too, and that will generate over $100 million for our schools without raising property taxes. Amendment 2 is endorsed by the Chiefs, Cardinals, Royals, Blues, and Missouri's 2 professional soccer teams, the KC Current and St. Louis City. These days, Republicans and Democrats don't agree on much. But the Republican and Democratic candidates for governor are both supporting Amendment 2 because it means more money for education. Amendment 2 isn't like the lottery. There's a strong constitutional guarantee. The new money from sports betting will go to our schools. $100 million for education without raising property taxes. Amendment 2 is endorsed by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch and the Kansas City Star. Vote yes on 2. Paid for by Winning for Missouri Education. Mike Pridmore, Treasurer.
Men, this is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. It seems like everything we hear these days is about political races, and yet there's a far more important race that you run for yourself every day. It's the race to be the best that you can be. But if your libido is low, if your workouts aren't productive, if you've got brain fog and you're tired all the time, you may feel like you're losing that race, and maybe even that your best days are behind you. But the truth is that they're likely not, because if you're feeling like this, it's probable you're simply suffering from low testosterone, a condition that affects a huge percentage of men as we age. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating low T. We've successfully treated thousands of men for the condition, and if you're like most guys, you'll start seeing results in just a few weeks. Better sleep patterns, higher energy, improved mental clarity, more productive workouts, and your libido will likely increase as well. So get back to winning your race by calling us. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
Hey friends, it's noisy out there with information coming at us all day, every day. It's hard to know what to trust, and the world of wealth management is no exception. That's why UMB Private Wealth Management helps you tune out the noise and tune into what matters most. They'll create a financial plan based on your unique goals, so it's your voice that comes through loud and clear. Get financial clarity. Go to umb.com/private wealth to schedule an appointment. That's umb.com/private wealth.
What's up, sandwich heads? Today on Steve-O's Sandwich Reviews, we've got the tips and tricks to the best sandwich order. And it all starts with this little guy right here. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Partial to pastrami, craving a Cubano. Yeah, sounds delicious, but boom! Add the crisp, refreshing taste of Pepsi Zero Sugar and cue the fireworks. Lunch, dinner, or late night, it'll be a sandwich worth celebrating. Trust me, your boy's eaten a lot of sandwiches in his day, and the one thing I can say with absolute fact, every bite is better with Pepsi.
Let's face it. Nowadays, most companies have to rely on dozens of expensive, disconnected platforms to run their business. And even then, things can get a little, well, stressful. But with Odoo's all-in-one management software, packed with a suite of fully integrated business applications, every process is streamlined. Tasks are automated, and success is just a few clicks away. See how Odoo can take your business to the next level at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery on select smart beds when you add any base. Ends Labor Day. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppables bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. With Downy Unstoppables, you just toss, wash, wow, for all-day freshness.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's Justin Reed. Welcome to The Drive with C-Dot on your home of Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
I am very excited to head to the phone lines right now to be joined by our next guest. He is one of the best sports talk hosts in the country. Does fantastic work in San Francisco. Bonte Hill joins us on the show today. Bonte, how you doing, my man?
Carrington, you know how to butter me up. One of the best sports talk hosts in the country, man. Don't do that to me, man. Don't do that to me, C-Dot.
Bonte, I wouldn't say it if I didn't feel that way. I am happy to have you on because I want you to communicate, because you and I have been texting over the course of the week. I want you to communicate how unpopular Patrick Mahomes is in that part of the country.
Oh, man. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift, Chris Jones. We can't stand them, yet we have nightmares about them. Andy Reid, how he's got the upper hand over Kyle Shanahan. Oh, my gosh. And the cold part is, Carrington, Patrick Mahomes is so fun to watch. Kelsey's so fun to watch. Chris Jones is so fun to watch dominate. And yet we can't help but get PTSD every time you guys line up on the field, whether it's Thursday, Sunday, or Monday.
Bonte, which Super Bowl loss is more hurtful to Niners fans? Is it the first time or the second time?
Oh, gosh, that's a great question. Go back and forth. You know, what's funny is after they lost last February in Las Vegas, and I'm walking out that stadium, I mean, the confetti didn't even hit the turf yet, and I was really gone. I was out of there. And I'm walking out like, wow, that hurts. And there's a fellow Niner fan walking to the side of me saying, do you think that one hurts? Miami hurts more. Miami hurt more. So it's different depending on the Niner fan, because 2019 was such a dream season that came out of nowhere, and it was the perfect storm. And all we keep thinking about is 2-3 chip wasp on 3rd and 15 with just under 7 minutes left, and it felt like that was the ball game. And I contend that 3rd and 15 conversion by Mahomes, Mahomes and Tyreek Hill, changed the course of NFL history. Who knows if you guys go back-to-back? Who knows if you guys win a Super Bowl? Who knows how much dialogue there is about Andy Reid not winning the big one? The dialogue with Kyle Shanahan is completely different. So, to be honest with you, Carrington, if I went out and polled 100 Niner fans, which Super Bowl loss is worse, Vegas or Miami? I think it'd be 50-50. Niner fans, I mean, it hurts not knowing the overtime rules and it comes down to the final play, but both hurt. It's a different type of pain, but each fan will say the other. Like, it's right down the middle, see that?
Right now, we're talking to Bonte Hill, who does fantastic work in San Francisco. It's funny, the back and forth. And Bonte, I don't think this is any disrespect towards San Francisco, but this game hasn't really registered in the way that it has for you guys just in our conversations. Just at this point, I'm not sure if an NFC team can kind of rate like that for Chiefs fans, because San Francisco is just not a roadblock to anything that Kansas City wants to do. They can't stop them from winning the division. Kansas City has already played Baltimore. They play Buffalo later this season. They play Houston later this season. So the teams that you think you were in competition with for that 1 seed, just this game hasn't really gotten to that big game level that I think it has in San Francisco.
That's understandable. And I'll hear it's been a weird vibe, to be honest with you, because last year, and I can understand that, out of conference game, it has no bearings on AFC tiebreakers, division tiebreakers, so I understand all that. And there was a lot more passion for the Niners-Eagles game last season when the Niners went into Philadelphia, and I think part of that was due to the trash talk between both teams, and of course Brock Purdy getting hurt 6 plays into the game for the Niners. And so there's a lot more passion, a lot more fervor for that game against Philadelphia. It has been a bit of a weird vibe. However, a lot of fans believe that, hey, you got to win this week. Because not only is it, hey, maybe now you can beat Kansas City in the game. You can leave the field knowing that you got more points than Andy Reid and company. Shanahan finally gets a win against Andy Reid. I believe he's 0-4. But also it could be a springboard for the Niners to jumpstart their season and take on the Cowboys next week, and they go 5-3 into the bye week. So it's been a very weird vibe. There's some people like, hey, we hate Kansas City, but there's also a lot more respect for Kansas City. Now, with all that said, I think you guys are probably the number 1 or 2 rival for Niner fans. I understand how Kansas City fans will look at the 49ers and say, well, we got Baltimore, we got Denver, we got the Raiders, we got Buffalo, you got Burrow and Cincinnati. So I wouldn't understand how Kansas City fans will feel like that. But Niner fans, they can't stand Kansas City. They understand that you're not going to win a Super Bowl by winning on Sunday. As Trent Williams said, confetti's not getting popped. Champagne's not getting popped. It's not going to be on ice. But Niner fans can't stand Kansas City because they feel like they've kept them from that 6th Lombardi, a Super Bowl trophy that Niner fans have been dying for since 1994.
Bonte, I want to run a take by you that I think that Kyle Shanahan is this generation's Bill Cowher, that he is a phenomenal coach. And Cowher had Pittsburgh playing at a high level for 10 to 12 years. And then he eventually got one, and everybody kind of had the opinion of it was time. It was time for Kyle Shanahan to win one. I'm not sure when Kyle Shanahan is going to win a championship, but it does feel like at some point San Francisco is going to win a championship with him as their head coach.
Yeah, it certainly feels like it. I mean, some people say the Andy Reid feel when Andy Reid was in Philadelphia and never got that Super Bowl in Philadelphia despite going to 5 NFC championship games and the Super Bowl appearance, and he could never get over the hump. There's a lot of signs that point towards Shanahan being the Andy Reid of this generation. And unfairly, I think Shanahan gets blamed for the Super Bowl when he was the offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons. Look, they had a 28-3 lead. They had a defensive-minded head coach of Dan Quinn. You can't hold a 28-3 lead? I mean, geez, Louise, but yet Shanahan gets all the heat. And he's such a polarizing figure because of who his father was, Mike Shanahan, what happened in Washington with RG3 and Kirk Cousins, the way Mike Shanahan coached the Denver Broncos and was there for a long, long time. For some reason, there's this disgust with Kyle Shanahan. And even now with the fan base, there's so much blame towards Shanahan for all these losses. Like, they go down to L.A. and take on the Rams. And they didn't have Deebo. They didn't have George Kittle. But, boy, Brock Purdy played well. And, yeah, they blew a lead, 21-7. But players got to execute as well. Like, Ronnie Bell just drops a pass, right? Just completely flat-out drops a pass. They lose to Arizona. Jordan Mason fumbles inside the 10-yard line. Yet all we do is take a lot of phone calls about, why does Shanahan do this? Why does Shanahan do that? Let him go. It's time to move on. Let's go get Belichick. It's really strange because he's really flipped this program. Shanahan took over an expansion team, and now the Niners are one of the more relevant teams in the NFL. So we just hope that he does win the Super Bowl here with the 49ers. He's going to win the Super Bowl at some point because he's that good of a head coach. He's never lost that locker room whatsoever, despite all the turbulence at times within that locker room. But, yeah, hope that he wins here. But, boy, a lot of Niner fans believe that he may be Andy Reid and win elsewhere after he leaves the 49ers. So he's such a polarizing figure, though, Carrington. It's unbelievable how much blame he gets for a lot of the shortcomings with the 49ers.
Bonte, it's crazy to say this, but you guys have one of the more polarizing quarterbacks in the league. Some people are Brock Purdy believers. Some people just won't buy into it. Some people think he's a creation of Kyle Shanahan and the offense and the pieces and the parts. But some people think he's deserving of getting $65 million or something of that range next offseason. How polarizing is he in San Francisco? And if there is a consensus, what's the feeling towards their quarterback?
Boy, so yesterday I threw up some numbers from the start of the regular season last year. Niners opened up against Pittsburgh. You guys opened up against the Detroit Lions on Thursday Night Football. And from that moment, Mahomes has played 21 regular season games, Purdy 22 regular season games. Purdy's thrown 40 touchdowns since that point and only 15 interceptions and damn near 6,000 yards. Mahomes, on the other hand, and we know how great he is, has thrown 33 touchdowns and 20 interceptions, and he's thrown for about 5,400 yards. And so I go, hey, look, he's actually played better regular season football than Mahomes, but nobody in their right mind is going to take Purdy over Mahomes. That's sacrilegious. That's ridiculous. But then people will tell me, man, you're an idiot. How can you say something like that? How can you say something like that? Earlier this season, I mentioned, hey, he's playing better football than Joe Burrow. But I'll tell you, you're an idiot, blah, 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 blah. But yet, if you get critical about Brock Purdy and say, boy, I'm a little worried about this game. You know, he threw the pick. He's holding the ball too long. Oh, you're Brock Purdy. Here, he's a hater. You're this, you're that. There's no gray area with Brock Purdy. It's either he's the next Joe Montana or he's a bum. You can't win talking about Brock Purdy. He's actually frustrating to talk about because when you assess his game and say, hey, he held onto the ball too long and he scrambles too much and he's not hitting the deep throws. Oh, man, what do you want from him, man? He's better than Jimmy. He's better than this. He's better than that. Yeah, I agree. He's a top 5, top 10 quarterback. But, boy, I mean, there's a segment of fans who wait for him to fail, and there's a segment of fans who believe he's the second coming of Joe Montana. So it's kind of nauseating to talk about Brock Purdy around here because we're so desperate for that next franchise quarterback. And, boy, if he gets paid $60 million a year, well, what is the noise going to be about now? I mean, let alone nationally, but in our own market, this guy is polarizing. So he's actually an interesting case study. And I'll just keep saying this, Carrington. He's one of the greatest stories in North American sports history, in my opinion, especially if he gets a Super Bowl. Because, I mean, the guy was the last pick of the NFL draft. And now he's a starting quarterback with the 49ers, one of the premier franchises in all of football. I think it's truly remarkable. But, boy, the scale with Brock Purdy, man, it's so tipsy-turvy. It's ridiculous, man. Sometimes I just get frustrated talking about him.
This is the thing that confuses me about the conversation around Brock Purdy, and I'm curious to get your thoughts. And you and I both watch this league. A lot of people watch the NFL. We see how unstable the quarterback position is for 20 teams in the National Football League. Or maybe you think you have that guy, but you have no clue what kind of production you're going to get from that player. San Francisco has had one of the 10 best quarterbacks in the NFL basically since we found out about him. Since he was given the starting job, he has been one of the most productive and consistent quarterbacks in the league. This to me is he is a prisoner of where he was drafted. I mean, if he was Will Levis, for example, and he was a second round pick out of Kentucky, then everybody would love him. But the fact that he was the Mr. Irrelevant, he was the last pick in the draft, I'm with you. It does feel like people are sort of waiting for the other shoe to drop and say, see, I told you he wasn't good.
Yeah, it's the glass slipper, right? The Cinderella slipper. They're waiting for it to break. That's basically what they're doing. It's like, wait a minute here. You come back from 24-7 against the Detroit Lions, all right, in the NFC Championship game. You come back in the rain against Green Bay without Deebo Samuel. I don't think he looked overwhelmed in the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs. There are some execution breakdowns. The cover zero blitz in overtime where Chris Jones just blows up the play, the 3rd and 5 play in regulation, which gave Kansas City a chance to tie the game at the end of regulation. He's had some phenomenal games. I mean, he's been on time. He's mastered the system under Kyle Shanahan, and he's taken the system to the next level. Now people pick apart and say, well, he's got all these weapons. He's got all these all-pros. Well, you got to have weapons in this league to succeed on Sundays, right? Travis Kelce, one of the greatest tight ends, if not the greatest tight end we've ever seen. Mahomes has that weapon. He has that. And so I just don't get it. I don't know why people are waiting for him. This is who he is. He's going to be a damn good quarterback. He's going to make the right read. Even the Rams game, even though the Rams had a lot of guys out, I mean, he was throwing to Juwan Jennings and the Brandon Ayuk, who was out of shape. And that was one of Purdy's best games of his pro career. And yet, oh, man, they couldn't put away the Rams. You see Purdy this, and he didn't do this. So it's just going to be a never-ending conversation unless he wins a Super Bowl. So I don't know what people are watching. Just give it up. Like you said, I'm watching Trevor Lawrence. He was the number 1 overall pick. Who would you rather have right now, Purdy or Trevor Lawrence? Trevor Lawrence looks like a wreck right now in Jacksonville. Give me Purdy, who, by the way, outdueled Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville last season. So I don't get it. I don't know what people are watching. But that's just the way I guess society is. That's how sports fans is these days, especially with the online engagement, where it's just like you either have to be great or you're going to be a bum. There's no like, hey, he's really, really good. He's not Mahomes. He's not Josh Allen. But how many other quarterbacks did you take over Brock Purdy? There's not too many in this league I'd take over Brock.
Right now, we're talking to Bonte Hill for a couple more minutes. Works in San Francisco, does morning radio, one of the best out there. All right, Bonte, let's learn a little bit more about this San Francisco team. They are 500 right now. There's way too much talent, and their coaching staff is too good for this to be a 500 team. What's gone wrong in the first 6 weeks for San Francisco?
Well, a lack of execution. I mean, in these crucial games, they dominate the Arizona Cardinals. They're up double digits. All of a sudden, they lose their kicker, Jake Moody, and they can't kick. But Arizona just ran the ball right down their throats. And defensively, I think this is the most vulnerable defense in the last 5 years for the 49ers. They don't get a consistent pass rush. That's even Nick Bosa. I mean, they don't get a consistent pass rush. Javon Hargrave is out, so the pass rush is non-existent. Their blitz packages are very predictable. And now, without Jerry Greenlaw, who you guys saw, that was a massive loss to the 49ers in the Super Bowl when Jerry Greenlaw tore his Achilles tendon and Oren Burks is running all over the place. He doesn't know where to line up. Well, Devondre Campbell signed as a free agent for the Green Bay Packers, and teams are telling you, yeah, we like when Devondre Campbell's on the field because they are attacking number 59 at will. So defensively, they're just not the same team. Obviously, in the red zone, and it's kind of fascinating that both teams have struggled in the red zone this season. I know Kansas City is something like 30th in the red zone when it comes to the red zone efficiency. Well, the 49ers are not much better. They're 12 of 27 in the red zone, and that's where the Christian McCaffrey effect kind of comes into play because now you don't have this ultimate slot machine, this ultimate joystick, I should say, where you can line them up in the slot, you can line them up in the backfield. He's a mismatch nightmare for linebackers. And Jordan Mason has run great. He's just not the same in the pass game. So the red zone issues offensively have really hurt the 49ers. They just have not converted enough touchdowns once they get inside the 20. And obviously their offense has become a little predictable inside the 20 where on every first down, it feels like they're going to run the ball right up the middle and set up a second and long inside the 20. So they've had some execution issues here, and they've had some injuries, but for the most part, they should not be 3-3. They're a Ronnie Bell drop pass away and the Jordan Mason fumble inside the 10-yard line away from being 5-1. For them to be 3-3 has obviously been disappointing, which made last week a must-win against Seattle.
I was just going to ask you, what do you think the status is for the run game heading into this one? Obviously, no Christian McCaffrey. What's the status on Jordan Mason? And do you think the rookie, Isaac Guerendo, do you think he can step in and fill in some big shoes, losing those first two backs who have been really productive?
Yeah, well, the word on the street is Jordan Mason is going to give it a go. He has the AC sprain in the shoulder, the left shoulder, but he's a battering ram, and he takes a lot of punishment. Isaac Guerendo obviously stepped up against Seattle. And he's raw. He's a rookie. I'm not sure if he's able to handle a pounding, if he's able to handle 20 touches a game. So Patrick Taylor Jr. was another guy that they played last week against Seattle, and he gave him a little bit of juice. Obviously, he's not Jordan Mason. He's not Christian McCaffrey. So they're going to have to run the ball with those guys. They may call up a guy named Keyshawn Vaughn from the practice squad, who they really, really like, but they need Jordan Mason, and they need to run the ball because, look, I understand Kansas City's defense is phenomenal, and they've been phenomenal ever since that playoff run. And it all starts with number 95, Chris Jones. I love their linebacker core. I love the secondary. But the Niners have to stay out of third long situations. So it behooves them to have, whether it's Jordan Mason, Isaac Guerendo, run the ball effectively here because against Spags' defense, you don't want to be in 3rd and 8. You don't want to be in 3rd and 7. You need to set up those 2nd and 3s, those 3rd and 2s, and really be ahead of the sticks here. So Jordan Mason will go. However, Carrington, it sounds like Juwan Jennings, who's had a big start to the season, and he may have been the Super Bowl MVP had the 49ers won the Super Bowl. He may not go. His hip is really bad. He hasn't practiced all week.
Last thing here, Bonte, and I appreciate your time. Give me your keys to the game. We always ask people this. Give me your Chiefs win-if scenario. Give me your Niners win-if scenario.
I think the Chiefs win if they continue to play stout defense. That front with Karlaftis and Wharton and Chris Jones and Mike Dana, they played really well. Drew Tranquill, I love this linebacker core with Bolton and Leo Chenal. The Chiefs will win if they shut down the 49ers run game and turn them into a passing game because the Niners are not built to just drop back and throw the ball 40 to 45 times. That's not their formula. They love to get to 30 carries a game, and that tells them that they're running the ball effectively, which sets up their play action pass. So the Chiefs will win if they just shut down the 49ers run and control the running game and put them in 3rd and long situations and obviously take care of the football on the offensive end with Kareem Hunt, Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelce. The 49ers will win on the flip side if they are running the ball and they're getting those explosive plays that they've missed last season. They're last in YAC this year, yards after catch. Deebo Samuel hasn't been able to break loose. Brandon Ayuk just had a game against Arizona. That's about it. George Kittle, you got to get more explosives out of this football team, so they need more 20-plus yard plays, some explosives here, and they have to control the running game. And, oh, by the way, it helped to get a little pressure on number 15, Patrick Mahomes.
That is our guy, Bonte Hill, joining us on the show today. He does fantastic work. He's with 95.7 The Game out in San Francisco. Bonte, man, appreciate you, man. I'm looking forward to a good one. These teams only know how to play close competitive games.
There's no doubt. I can't wait for the Chiefs to come in. A great litmus test for the 49ers. So see if they can finally get one against Andy Reid and company. But Carrington, what is he, 21-4 off the bye? I mean, come on, man. This is not fair.
I'm with you, Bonte. I mean, that's the biggest reason why I'm picking Kansas City. I'm picking Kansas City for 2 reasons. Their record off a bye and Patrick Mahomes as an underdog. Like, do I want to be on the side with the 4 or do I want to be on the side of 21 with Andy Reid? It seems to me there's only one right side to be in this conversation.
There's no doubt. I can't be mad at you for that pick, but I can't wait for Sunday. A great litmus test for the 49ers. It's always good to see, to watch greatness. And Patrick Mahomes coming to Levi Stadium, we understand what he did last time. What he threw for like 423 yards at Levi Stadium. It's always fun to watch him, but boy, the Niners need this win. Carrington, you're the best, man. Appreciate you as always.
Absolutely. That's our guy, Bonte Hill, joining us on the show today. Happy to get the San Francisco 49ers perspective heading into the game. Text line 913-586-7965. C-Dot, Kyle Shanahan is not a great coach, at least not a head coach. Stop it. He has done nothing to deserve being a head coach. I just would like to point out that San Francisco, in 4 of the last 5 seasons, has either gone to the Super Bowl or the NFC Championship game, and they have won double-digit games in 4 of the last 5 years. If Kyle Shanahan does not classify as a great head coach, I would like to know who else we are putting in that conversation. I would say that we are doing some of the same things that we do to Kyle Shanahan or coaches in that same vein that we do to quarterbacks. Tell me the coaches that are winning Super Bowls or consistently winning postseason games. It is a very small group of people that are doing that right now. When you look at the postseason and it is single elimination, one loss, and you are out of there, I mean, it's been a while since Mike Tomlin has had postseason success. It's been a while since Mike McCarthy has had success in the postseason. It's been a while since a lot of the coaches that we would put in that top 5 conversation, it's been a while since they've had success. You go to 2 of the last 5 Super Bowls, and you've been in the NFC Championship game 4 of the last 5 years, that puts you at the top of the list. You are not ahead of Andy Reid. Andy Reid is number 1 on this list. But right now, in my opinion, number 2 on the list is Kyle Shanahan, and I don't really see an argument for anybody else to put in that number 2 spot.
I mean, in the last, 10 years, has anyone other than Andy Reid or Sean McVay that's still coaching won a Super Bowl? Belichick's done and gone. Shanahan's been to multiple but lost. I mean, Tomlin may have been in that window, but I don't think so. 2015 on is not the Tomlin window. Harbaugh has not won in that window. Like, if we were to really look at NFL coaches under a microscope, it would be Reid, the obvious with a bullet. I would have, if you think rings matter only, then you have to have McVay at 2. And after that, it's a matter of who's getting to the Super Bowl. And Kyle Shanahan has got there multiple times, been in the championship game multiple times. He's definitely at worst 3rd in the modern NFL based on what he's done since he got hired, because Tomlin hasn't won a playoff game in forever, let alone a Super Bowl. So I disqualify him. And Harbaugh was great with Joe Flacco, but we haven't seen him cash in with Lamar Jackson yet.
And just the fact that you've seen Kyle Shanahan do it now with multiple quarterbacks matters. The fact that he went to a Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo and then also went to the Super Bowl with Brock Purdy, I don't really understand the argument against Kyle Shanahan. It just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. Coming up on the other side, I want to give you guys our parlay. We hit on one of these last week. If you guys are not listening to us, you are not making money. We'll give you our parlay, and we'll also catch up with John Kurtz and cover a little bit of K-State. That's all coming up. Keep it right here. So Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics, 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
The NFL season continues on, and there's no better place to get in on the action than with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. And you can get started right now with $300 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. All right, let's make a same-game parlay for Sunday, Chiefs and Niners. I'm going to take the Chiefs. They're underdogs. You always take Patrick Mahomes if you're going to get the points. I'm going to take the over on passing yards for Patrick Mahomes as well. I'm also going to take Juju Smith-Schuster. I think Juju is going to emerge as the #1 receiver in that room. You can play that same game parlay or make your own. All you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/CDOT to make every moment more this season. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Can help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Xfinity here. How can we help?
Yeah, there are so many football games streaming this season. Can Xfinity Internet handle it?
Oh, we know the game is only live once, so we built a network with all-pro speeds and low lag so you don't miss a snap.
So I can yell, "He's open!" when he's actually open?
Yeah, but the quarterback still can't hear you.
Switch to Xfinity Internet and TV and enjoy instant access to your favorite live sports with the Xfinity Stream app. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed. Streaming content limited to the U.S. Programming subject to change.
Hey, diamond lovers. Shane Company knows fine jewelry. That means a lot when you're looking for a dream engagement ring, a beautiful keepsake, or the perfect gift. When it's this important, you want someone who knows exactly how to work with your budget. Not against it. Someone who knows you deserve a piece more beautiful than you've ever imagined. Through 4 generations as a family business, we've always sourced our diamonds and gemstones directly, cut out the middleman, and passed the savings on to you. Come see us in store. and compare our wide selection of diamonds, rubies, and a rainbow of sapphires in different shapes and sizes. So many in stock and ready to take home today. Create your dream engagement ring in 3 easy steps, or pick a perfectly preset ring that's created by our in-house design team. Browse our selection of fine jewelry gifts for everyone in your life, from diamond and gemstone studs to must-have tennis bracelets and beautiful birthstone necklaces. With our everyday competitive prices and unmatched free lifetime warranty, Shane Company is your go-to destination for fine jewelry. Visit shaneco.com and come in to see for yourself. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Touchdown, Renner! Almost Andy Reid here. You know, a few years ago, my wife surprised me with tickets to a Halloween ball. And guess what? That night I discovered a new passion. Now I've added to that passion, cheering on the greatest team with the greatest garage door company of all time. Renner offers top-notch repair services, new doors, and LiftMaster openers. It's the perfect three-peat forward and back, R-E-N-N-E-R with Renner. You'll stay on the championship track. Visit rennerdoor.com.
Paid for client portrayal and endorsement. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results, and every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
I got hurt in a car wreck. Give me one good reason why I should call DM Law.
How about 3 great reasons you should call us? 1, it's easy. You can hire us today on your phone. 2, it's fast. We can start helping you today. 3, the results. Just listen to this.
After my wreck, DM Law got me $200,000.
Call me. I've got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Order for Jennifer C.
Is this my double shot, double cream, double froth, double pump, double hot, double whip, double sleeve?
Yeah. Can you handle that much caffeine?
Hey, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Well, I do now.
Seriously, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, you just said that.
Did you say I just said that?
Yeah, I'm cutting you off.
Did you say you're cutting me off?
You earn, we match. Unlimited cashback match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
This season, get premium tech that inspires joy from Dell Technologies. Bring projects to life with the XPS 16. It delivers supercharged processing for enhanced productivity and freedom to express yourself. Performance-class Dell PCs with Intel Core Ultra processors deliver a dedicated engine to help accelerate AI. Enjoy free shipping, Dell rewards, and expert support. When you get a Dell PC with AI, it gives back. Shop now at Dell.com/deals.
You can host the best backyard barbecue when you find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
Vanguard is 100% client-owned, serving over 50 million investors every day. Whether you're planning for retirement, putting your kids through college, or saving up for your next adventure, Vanguard can help you set personalized investment goals. All investing is subject to risk. Vanguard is owned by its funds, which are owned by Vanguard's fund shareholder clients. Copyright 2024, The Vanguard Group, Inc., all rights reserved, Vanguard Marketing Corporation Distributor.
This afternoon, expect sunny skies with a high of 72.
Weather brought to you by Robert Half. Robert Half's recruiting professionals use their award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. Learn more at roberthalf.com/talent today.
Welcome to your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
K-State fan, I don't want you guys to feel like you were left out. Now, this show will never get credit for talking about K-State, and tomorrow you guys will all congregate and talk about how we in the Kansas City media have come together to never talk about your team. But we are having a K-State guest on the show right now. Go tell your 3 K-State friends. John Kurtz joins us on the show today. John Kurtz, how are you doing, my brother?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on for the first time and finally getting K-State some damn respect around here.
John, why are you doing this? Now they're going to run with it. John Kurtz said, no, that's not accurate.
It's at C.Harrison on Twitter, I believe, everybody.
Oh, my goodness. John Kurtz, I can't believe you would do this. You know what? Just for that, I'm picking West Virginia to go on the road and win this week, and I'm changing my pick just like that.
That's fine. Carrington, we function better when we have a chip on our shoulder, right? And when we feel like the world is against us. So that actually is very apropos. You're just kind of feeding the beast by doing that.
You know what? I was really impressed last week against Colorado. Now, Colorado is not one of the marquee teams, but it's a road night game. It's in conference, and Colorado just plays a lot of quirky, weird, competitive, who knows what could happen kind of games, especially after their first road loss against BYU, where they just got completely outclassed in the second half of that game. I thought last week was an impressive road win for the Wildcats.
Yeah, to me, it was kind of about growing up. Because at BYU, when they had an issue with a turnover, which they did against Colorado late, that helped set up the go-ahead score, they just completely melted down. And that was in a tough environment. I mean, I was there in Provo, and look, I traveled for 10 years with K-State football all around the old Big 12, including Texas and Oklahoma many times. And Provo held up about as well as any, maybe not quite to like Oklahoma level, but it was a tough environment. And I think K-State really kind of wilted. And Avery Johnson admitted as much, basically, after that game. You had DJ Giddens' first career fumble that got run back for a touchdown, and everything just unraveled after that. So, to me, the really impressive part there was to be able to go score in 3 plays. I mean, they led the entire game. They controlled the entire game. And in about the span of half a quarter, it just goes away, totally evaporates. And now what are you going to do? You got this really gassed up crowd with celebrities on the sideline all cheering against you. Like, how are you going to respond to that? And 3 plays, they're in the end zone. And then the defense got to stop too. And I know there was a little bit of controversy at the end there, but I mean, in 4 plays, they didn't let Colorado pick up a first down after that. So it was just a complete and total response from everybody where that didn't happen at all. And a lot of the blame wants to go to the offense for what happened at BYU, but also, I mean, the defense, when they were put in tough spots and having to defend short fields, I mean, they offered little to no resistance at all to BYU in that game, which is how they scored 31 points in 6 minutes. So I thought it was impressive from both sides of the ball, and it kind of knocked back a Colorado team that seemed like they just had the magic late in games. You know, I mean, it was coming off the Baylor game where they had the Hail Marys. They did not play very well for most of the night and then just snapped their fingers there in front. You just felt like, all right, there's something here in Boulder. But K-State stopped that. And I think that's a real sign of growth for this team.
You mentioned growth. What growth have you seen in Avery Johnson over the course of the last month or so?
Well, definitely he's become more consistent throwing the ball. It's not perfect, and I think it still is a work in progress, and you're going to continue to see, warts sometimes this year, like late in the Colorado game. I mean, he kind of throws one off his back foot that gets intercepted and run almost all the way back for a touchdown. So it's still coming along, but if you watched film of that game versus the UT Martin game at the beginning of the year, the Tulane game, where there were just more frequent misses, more glaring misses, I think he's been able to dial some of that in. And he's done it too, by the way, with running a little bit less. They have not been utilizing his legs quite as much. Couldn't really at Colorado because he got hurt, which is another part of the adversity that they overcame at Colorado. But Kleiman said after the game, like, we didn't have quarterback run to go to. So when they're trying to, usually late in a game when you're trying to move the ball in critical situations, that's when they would get a little bit more lenient toward using his legs and using him in the run game. But they didn't have that option. So he's been forced to do that more with his arm. So I think it's really like the composure that I just talked about, and then just becoming a little bit better with reps as a passer. I don't know that he's ever going to be a totally elite, like, pocket passer, but he definitely can be a good one. And I think he's very much on the path to getting there.
Right now, we're talking a little K-State football with John Kurtz here for a couple more minutes. It feels like, John, and I don't want to jinx anything, let me knock on wood. It feels as if K-State can get over this game. It feels like they shouldn't lose again until you get to Iowa State. I mean, if your remaining road game is on the road against Houston, that's one of the bottom 5 teams in the Big 12. You dominate KU. Arizona State is at home. It's also late in the season, so it's going to be a different temperature than they're used to. Cincinnati's not that good this year. I mean, this is the test to me. If they can get over this game against West Virginia, a road night game in conference, it seems to me that you're going to be playing Iowa State for a chance to go to the Big 12 championship game.
I definitely am behind that sentiment. Now, I would also say, I'm still leery of next week, especially because I guess I've said this about 3 or 4 times this year, but I anticipate Kansas getting some confidence back this weekend when they play Houston. And that will still be a game where they're capable of beating you if you don't bring it. But K-State has been a totally different animal at home, you're right, and that's a huge part of it. Cincinnati and Arizona State are much improved from last year, particularly Arizona State. But they're now dealing with a quarterback injury, so who knows by the time they get to that game. But K-State at home has been crushing people. They don't have those moments where they're a pretty young team and they get a little bit rattled. That doesn't happen at home, so I think that's made a world of difference. Schedule's very, very manageable. And at the beginning of the year, I looked at this. Look, I picked K-State to lose at BYU and at West Virginia at the beginning of the year. Obviously, I'm 1 for 1 on those predictions, but I looked at this situation and said, all right, you're traveling across 3 time zones from the Mountain Time Zone in Boulder, which turned out to be the latest possible kick that you could have. Now you got to go all the way to the Eastern Time Zone in a tough place to get to in Morgantown, West Virginia, and play in front of I would imagine, still a pretty juiced-up night crowd there. I know their fans aren't very happy with Neil Brown right now, but that's a tough environment. Again, another place that I've been. It's not an easy place to go play. That's a really difficult stretch with probably a little bit less prep time just because they didn't get back until 5 in the morning on Sunday from the previous trip to Boulder. So I'm with you. I think it's a massive game, and if you do get this, we're probably looking at the biggest Farmageddon matchup that we've ever had.
Last question here really quickly. If I had to ask K-State fans, if I walked around Aggieville and I said, these are your 2 choices, K-State goes to the Elite 8 or KU misses the entire NCAA tournament this year, which one do you think fans would pick?
Boy, that Elite 8 thing, man, you're striking a nerve with that because, 3 times in my lifetime, I guess 3 times since 2010, they've made it there to the Elite 8, not gotten over that hump. Does anyone want to relive that pain again? If you went to Aggieville, I think you get a pretty split response. I'll put it that way. I think it'd be pretty split. When was the last time Kansas missed a tournament, right? I mean, that's the thing. We've seen K-State go to the Elite 8. I don't remember seeing Kansas not make the NCAA tournament.
Well, you know what? If KU misses the NCAA tournament, the party that Columbia and Manhattan are going to have, there's going to come together for the biggest party that we've ever seen locally.
Well, I agree with that. I'm also really interested, Coleman Hawkins has this podcast that he's doing with Field of 68, and they said that they're going to try to get Hunter Dickinson to come on and do that too. So I'd be very interested to hear the Coleman Hawkins discourse back and forth with Hunter Dickinson there if Kansas misses the tournament.
That is our guy, John Kurtz, joining us on the show. He's with the 3 Mall podcast. He is one of my favorite K-State people to talk to. John, it was great to have you for your first time ever coming on this show, man. Hopefully we do this again.
I agree. I'm glad we broke the seal. Let's do it again soon.
That is our guy, John Kurtz, joining us on the show. Coming up at the top of the hour, I have a thought about Kyle Shanahan. We'll also give you a parlay so you can win a little bit of money this weekend. That's coming up. Keep right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
On 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Mitchell Schwartz. You know, there's nothing easier to enjoy than watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings located at 137th and Metcalf in Overland Park on Friday, October 18th. I'll be there with the crew from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champs while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. For more details, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
There are so many things I love about fall weather. The crisp air, the changing leaves. It's all so magical. Until my kids catch a chill outside. That's where Kohl's comes in, with cozy layers, warm jeans, and more. I found all the styles my kids need when the seasons change. Plus, I got 20% off with a coupon and earned Kohl's Cash. So here's my style forecast. Prep better for fall weather at Kohl's. Select styles. Offers end October 20th. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Let me tell you guys about my friends over at The Other Place. They have now 5 locations in the Kansas City metro. They're all spread out. They got one in Belton. They got a couple here that's pretty close to the station. They got one in downtown Overland Park. They got the one over at Mission. The one over at Mission has brunch. You can have a little brunch in college football to kick off your Saturday. What a day. Let me tell you about some of the game day specials that are available during every Kansas City game. They got a 14-inch 2-topping pizza for $12, 8 wings and a basket of tots for $12, and they also got $4 domestics. If you can't make it to the game, it offers a one-of-a-kind game day experience, and it's the next best thing to being at the stadium. So if you want a great game day environment, a fantastic place to watch the game, great food specials, great beer specials, there's only one place to go to, and it's with my friends over at The Other Place.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru, and our hotline is open. Annie from Kansas City, what's on your mind?
I want a dealership that I can trust for a lifetime. Is that you?
We're Google's highest review rated and only locally owned Subaru retailer in Kansas City. That's a good start.
I just want a great deal. That's all.
How about 0% financing on select 2025 Subaru models? That'll get you a low monthly payment. Fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru.
Google highest review rated Subaru retailer in Kansas City based on 2023 Google Analytics.
Dick Ray, he's your cooling magician. Dick Ray is a man on a mission. When it's hot and humid, your AC's failing and it's causing quite the fuss. There's an AC expert you know that you can trust. He's there for us. Call Dick Ray, he's your cooling magician.
Hey, it's Dick Ray. Schedule your AC tune-up, only $79. 913-DICK-RAY.
If you've been thinking about selling your home, what's holding you back? Whether it's a bad experience or even a lack of experience, home selling can be stressful. The key is to trust an expert who has your best interest at heart, and that's Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty. Dawn is the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home, and she can even give you an instant offer if you want to skip the showings. Google my friend Dawn and her team at Sharp Homes Team and see over 200 5-star reviews, or check them out at homesforsaleInKC.com and start packing.
Is your vehicle stopping like it should? Does it squeal or grind when you brake? Don't miss out on summer brake deals at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
IBM and the United States Tennis Association are teaming up and using generative AI to deliver an improved experience for tennis fans around the world. The 2024 U.S. Open digital platforms offer never-before-seen features to bring fans even closer to the action inside Billie Jean King Tennis Center. New long-form post-match summaries mean fans can access detailed analysis for all 254 U.S. Open singles matches within minutes for near-instant coverage at unprecedented scale. To learn more about this new feature and others, visit usopen.org or download the U.S. Open app. Sponsored by IBM.
Paramount Plus is once again your home to stream the NFL on CBS. Follow all the action and stream your live local NFL on CBS game every Sunday, all the way through the AFC Championship. Sign up, sign in, and start streaming Paramount Plus today.
Chiefs coverage is brought to you by DuriVision. Schedule your free consultation today. DuriVision.com.
Make the best decision ever like I did. That was calling up DuriVision for a free consultation to find out how I can see better, and in my case, how I could get rid of my contacts and glasses. Give them a call, 913-491-3330, or go online to DuriVision.com.
What's up? It's Patrick Mahomes. Catch me every Monday during the season with C-Dog right here on your home of the Chiefs. 96.5, The Fan.
KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City in Odyssey Sports Station.
All right. I would like to share a quick thought with you guys regarding Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco. And then Rob and I would like to cook up a couple of parlays for you this weekend if you're looking for a little bit of action. First off, I think that Kyle Shanahan is going to be the Bill Cowher of his era. Bill Cowher was a phenomenal coach for quite some time for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He paid his dues as a coordinator. He finally got his opportunity to become a head coach of a historic team like the Pittsburgh Steelers. He had that job from 1992 all the way up until 2006. And he had gone to Super Bowls. They went to AFC championship games, and they always knocked on the door, but He was unable to sort of walk through it. He had a couple of down years. There was a 3-year stretch in which Bill Cowher and the Pittsburgh Steelers missed the postseason, 98 to 2000. They also had a 6-10 year right before they went 15-1 and lost to the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. But you know what? 1 year, certainly not one of their best teams. Eventually, you know what happened? Bill Cowher and the Pittsburgh Steelers won the Super Bowl, and that was the end of Bill Cowher's career. That sort of feels like how things are going to happen for Kyle Shanahan. Now, I don't mean this as any shade, but that's not too different from the story that Bill Self has. Bill Self was a phenomenal coach for a long period of time, but was unable to get over the hump. And you know what? Eventually, 1 year, everything aligned, and eventually KU won the national championship, and Bill Self went from somebody who could never win the national championship to now being considered the best coach in college basketball. It feels like that's Kyle Shanahan's story. Is he Andy Reid? Of course not. But if you look at the last 4 years, now that he has got things going with San Francisco, 13-3, they lose in the Super Bowl to Kansas City. They go 10-7, they get to the NFC Championship game. They go 13-4, get to the NFC Championship game last year. 12-5, lose in the Super Bowl. Eventually, if you keep taking as many swings as San Francisco has taken over the course of the last 4 or 5 years, eventually you connect with one of them and you eventually make it to and win the Super Bowl. So I don't know when that door is going to open for Kyle Shanahan. Maybe it's this year, maybe it's next year, maybe it's 7 years from now. But if you were asking me right now, do you think that Kyle Shanahan ends his career without a Super Bowl? I don't think you can say that. He's 44 years old. How many more years do we think that Kyle Shanahan has to do this and at a high level? And I think he has shown one of the best skills that you can have as a head coach. He clearly knows how to develop quarterbacks. You don't get to the Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo. You don't get to the Super Bowl with Brock Purdy and do it with the various pieces that you have if you are not somebody who has a system and a scheme and knows how to get the most out of the pieces that you have. Kyle Shanahan is eventually going to break through. I don't know when, but he's too good of a coach to end his career without winning at least one championship.
I don't hate your Bill Cowher comparison. I think it's very good. I will raise you another Pennsylvania coach. Is he Andy Reid? Andy Reid was wildly successful in Philadelphia. They went to, 5 straight NFC title games, 4 straight NFC title games, and a Super Bowl. And he was doing it with a guy that at the time we thought Donovan McNabb is good. But now if we look back with hindsight at Donovan McNabb's stats, we're like, oh, Donovan McNabb was just okay. He was winning and winning and winning at a high level, but never got the big one. You want to know why? He never had the quarterback. I feel like if you give Kyle Shanahan the quarterback, and I know it's going to come off like shade to Brock Purdy, but we all know Brock Purdy is not in the same hemisphere as Patrick Mahomes. If you give him a Mahomes type, if you give him a Peyton Manning type, if you give him like how Sean McVay needed Matt Stafford, if you give him a guy where there's the pedigree, there's the arm talent, there's everything, I think he breaks through. But Bonte Hill, who's on the show earlier, said it best. Is that going to come in San Francisco? Is he going to break through with the Niners? Andy Reid never broke through with the Eagles. He had to leave, and then eventually he broke through. I agree Shanahan's eventually going to win one. I just wonder if it's in San Francisco or if he's going to find pay dirt somewhere else. One day he's the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. He nailed the draft pick the way the Chiefs nailed the Mahomes pick, and then it's watch out world. That's kind of how I think his history goes.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I just don't think that they're getting rid of Brock Purdy. This is where I think people are a little bit unfair to Brock Purdy. We watch football every single weekend, and you see how, I would say, quarterback play fluctuates so much over a game-by-game, week-by-week, season-by-season. At some point, when do we evaluate what Brock Purdy is versus what we think that Brock Purdy should be? Since Brock Purdy has taken over as the quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers, he has thrown 53 touchdown passes, 19 interceptions. His quarterback rating over the last 3 years is 108, and San Francisco is 20-7 with him as a starter. He also has helped guide his team to a Super Bowl and an NFC championship game. Like, at what point do we just kind of look at Brock Purdy and say,
Yeah, but in that...
Pretty good.
Couldn't that be Donovan McNabb? Donovan McNabb was pretty good. But Donovan McNabb was never Tom Brady. He was never Peyton Manning. He was never one of those dudes. I actually think Brock Purdy has wildly improved since I used to call him Bush Light Boy. He's better now, but I still don't think he's the transcendent type. And my Andy Reid comparison for Kyle Shanahan, when he got the transcendent type, he went from really good coach getting the most out of his quarterback, who was never a bum, but still getting the most out of him, to suddenly it was like, whoa, mad genius territory.
Yeah, you're right, but I don't know if we've ever seen a coach kind of do what Andy Reid did, where so late in his career, you just finally get gifted. And gifted sounds a little more harsh than I intend for it to sound, but give me the coach that just couldn't win a championship in their first 15 years, and then at the end of their career, you now have the best quarterback of your generation. I don't think that Shanahan wins 3 or 4 of these things. I think he eventually gets one. If you're asking me right now, who are some of these other coaches? And someone on the text line says, not when Mahomes is in the league. CDOT, you talk about how he's blocking so many other players. But I also say this, eventually other players start winning championships and other coaches start winning them. I don't think that Patrick Mahomes wins 11 Super Bowls over the course of his career. Think about how great Tom Brady was. Other people have rings during the Brady era. Peyton Manning has 2 Super Bowls during that time frame. Aaron Rodgers has 1. Russell Wilson went to 2 Super Bowls. Now, Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl in the middle of the Patriots dynasty. So again, I'm not saying that Patrick isn't going to get his fill. He is certainly in the course of eating a lot of it. Other people are going to win championships. Josh Allen eventually figures out a way to win one of these things. Kyle Shanahan, these guys to me are just too good and have been good for too long to not figure out a way to get a little slice of the pie for themselves. I know that Peyton Manning was never going to end his career with 0. Now, he didn't get to 4 or 5 the way that Brady did. There was never a scenario, never an NFL of which Peyton Manning retires with 0 championships. He was just too good of a quarterback, and when you're a good quarterback like he was for 15 years, eventually it just becomes your turn. Shanahan's too good to me to think that he just doesn't have a turn at some point. Again, I'm not sure when it's going to be. He eventually has one.
I agree. He is too good of a coach to never, ever get one. And he's been too close. Like, I know the text line is saying, well, he doesn't have a championship, so why are you guys talking like this? He's been twice. If you go twice in a 5-year window, you are probably going again. Maybe not 2 times in the next 5 years, but you're going back. Sean McVay, when he went, we all knew he was going back, and he got his. Eventually, if you keep going and going and going, you get one. It's your Bill Self analogy. Everyone said he can never win the Elite 8. But guess what? If you're in the Elite 8 every year, you're going to eventually win a game in the Elite 8. That's kind of how I feel about Shanahan. He's going to go to more Super Bowls. And if you keep going, you keep giving yourself a chance to win the game. Ball bounces your way, tip ball gets caught by your team, field goes missed. Maybe it's a luck factor, but if you put yourself in position, you give yourself the chance.
Coming up in just a little bit, we're going to be joined by Mike Silver, who's based in the Bay Area. He is one of the best NFL writers in league history. All right, before we do that, let's give you our weekly parlay. It's brought to you by Twin Peaks, where you can eat, drink, and see the scenic views. Hit me, Rob. You know what? For my college football pick for the weekend, I'm going to take the Missouri Tigers. Sure, you can call it a homer pick, but the line now has gotten to a disrespectful place to me that just doesn't make a lot of sense given how good I think Missouri can be and hasn't proven it consistently, and how bad I think that Auburn is. Auburn is not a good team, and you're telling me right now I can get Missouri minus 3.5? No, this feels like a Missouri 27-14 win this weekend in Columbia. 3.5. I jumped on this at the very beginning of the week. I encourage you to do the exact same. It's homecoming. The crowd's going to be rocking. Auburn has a turnover problem. Don't let the Texas A&M game now completely move you off of Missouri. Give me Missouri minus 3.5. I love it.
The game I'm on, Carrington, is one I think you're on as well. I like BYU tonight minus the 9.5. Now, 9.5 is a big number, especially against a team like Oklahoma State that we thought preseason could be in that Big 12 title race. But you just heard from John Kurtz. Provo is one of the best atmospheres in the Big 12, and I think the Pokes have quit. Like, when you have preseason expectations and preseason hype and it's met with big disappointment, right now is where it's gut check time. And I think the Pokes are done. They got cooked at home by West Virginia. That's when you know season over. Let's pack it up and head home. Ollie Gordon hadn't been that good. I like BYU. You play that number with your Missouri number over at FanDuel, plus 269.
Okay, I like that one. Give me that right now. I like that at 269. Everybody's on BYU. You know I'm super high, but that number is kind of big.
It's a big number.
I think I'm passing on Oklahoma State on the line. I probably would take them in a money line and a parlay. I don't think I would touch that number, at least against the spread. All right, for my NFL pick for the week, I gave you an anytime touchdown last week. I told you Dylan Edwards was going to score. I mean, I've seen the NFL script. Who told you that Kareem Hunt was going to score the first touchdown back in Kansas City? Was it me, Rob? Was it me? Did I tell you that? We've seen the script. Devontae Adams is scoring a touchdown this week. Aaron Rodgers is going to throw it to him 15 times this weekend. It is about targets. It is about opportunities. Devontae Adams, anytime touchdown. I actually like him a little sprinkle on first touchdown this weekend as well.
I will take the Lions plus 1.5. They are playing the Vikings. Listen, the Vikings are a great story, and they're a good team. They're a very solid football team, but I think the Lions are a more talented team and maybe a better coach team, and I'm getting points while doing that. The Lions have had the Vikings number, so I'll take the Lions plus 1.5, plus an anytime touchdown from Adams Carrington. That's plus 405.
Let's get it going here. I like that one. Plus 405. Go ahead and mark it down. 4-1 odds. Coming up on the other side, we're going to be joined by Mike Silver, one of the best football writers out there. He is currently writing a book. He lives in the Bay Area. We'll get his thoughts on Chiefs and Niners. That's coming up. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
MD Anderson Cancer Center is again ranked #1 in the nation for cancer care by U.S. News & World Report's Best Hospitals rankings. Our physicians treat more types of cancers in a day than many see in their whole career. This unmatched depth of expertise, combined with our groundbreaking discoveries, gives our patients access to the most innovative treatment options. Learn more at mdanderson.org.
Many of us are looking forward to retirement. But when it's time to tap into your savings, do you know how long your money will last? Make a game plan for your retirement income distribution from UMB Private Wealth. They'll create a custom strategy for you to help make your hard-earned retirement savings last. Just go to umb.com/private wealth to schedule your personal appointment. That's umb.com/private wealth.
Let me tell you guys about my friends over at The Other Place. They have now 5 locations in the Kansas City metro. They're all spread out. They got one at Belton. They got a couple here that's pretty close to the station. They got one in downtown Overland Park. They got the one over at Mission. The one over at Mission has brunch. You can have a little brunch in college football to kick off your Saturday. What a day. Let me tell you about some of the game day specials that are available during every Kansas City game. They got a $4 at $12. 8 wings and a basket of tots for $12, and they also got $4 domestics. If you can't make it to the game, it offers a one-of-a-kind game day experience, and it's the next best thing to being at the stadium. So if you want a great game day environment, a fantastic place to watch the game, great food specials, great beer specials, there's only one place to go to, and it's with my friends over at The Other Place.
Kansas City loves ribs. Smoky, savory, sweet, fall-off-the-bone ribs for just $15 or 2 for $25. You can grab a full slab of baby back ribs at Hy-Vee every Saturday and Sunday. Perfect for your tailgate or watch party. Add baked beans, potato salad, and coleslaw, then kick back and leave the cooking to us. Hy-Vee has your back with a full slab of ribs for just $15 or 2 for $25 every Saturday and Sunday, only at Hy-Vee. Limited time offer while supplies last.
I love watching the Chiefs score points. Now I have even more reason to cheer on the Chiefs. I just head to Hy-Vee the day after any game and score savings at the pump with my Hy-Vee Perks card. Win or lose, I earn a fuel saver discount equal to the Chiefs score based on the amount I spend. If the Chiefs score 42 points, I save 42 cents a gallon when I spend $42. The more we score, the more I save. only at Hy-Vee. Offer good in-store and online. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
Our favorite reason to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler? Free service for life with no fine print. That's right. When you buy your engagement ring or any piece of jewelry at Diamonds Direct, you will never have to pay a dime in the future for sizing, cleaning, or routine maintenance. At Diamonds Direct, there's no gotcha clause, no fine print, no looking for ways to void the warranty. Diamonds Direct, the jeweler you can trust with a no questions asked 100% free lifetime warranty with no strings attached. Come see us to learn more.
Reason number 52 to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler. Only Diamonds Direct gives you a 110% diamond upgrade guarantee. Diamonds Direct will give you 110% of your original purchase price toward the new stone. That's 10% more than you paid the first time. Guaranteed appreciation. Who else does this? There's no fine print and no minimum purchase requirement. It's 10% more, period. Buy with confidence. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
You're always better with a roof from JR.
We've had more than our fair share of hail and wind this year. Are you playing Roofer Roulette? That's when you bet your roof and your home on the first random roofer to ring your doorbell. Why do that when JR & Company offers a free hail and wind report online at jrstormcheck.com? Just plug in your address and we'll pull a multi-year storm report. You'll know exactly what your roof has been put through and if you even need an inspection. If you do, no one is more thorough and works better with your insurance than locally owned, veteran-owned JR & Company. And if you need a new roof, remember, a roof from JR comes with a lifetime warranty on workmanship. Don't play Roofer Roulette with your home. Visit jrstormcheck.com and remember,
You're always better with a roof from JR.
Visit jrstormcheck.com.
When a KU versus K-State rivalry game begins, emotions run high, legends are created, school pride hangs in the balance, memories that last a lifetime will be made, because each game is the most important game in history. At least, until the next one. Get in the game with your chance to win up to $50,000. The Rivalry Riches instant ticket from the Kansas Lottery. See kslottery.com for details.
This is the story of the one. As a warehouse manager, her job is to transform chaos into clarity and to see patterns where others see problems. Luckily, she's got a partner who shares her perspective. Grainger offers over 1 million industrial-grade products, backed by real person support and in-depth online resources, so she can tackle every task with precision and turn potential setbacks into streamlined success. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Order for Jennifer C.
Is this my double shot, double cream, double froth, double pump, double hot, double whip, double sleeve?
Yeah. Can you handle that much caffeine?
Hey, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Well, I do now.
Seriously, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, you just said that.
Did you say I just said that?
Yeah, I'm cutting you off.
Did you say you're cutting me off?
You earn We Match, unlimited cashback match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
After you use Bounce Dryer sheets and realize how fresh, soft, less wrinkled, and less staticky your laundry can be, you'll put a sheet on it every time. Like those socks that smell like they've been through a marathon. Put a sheet on it. Or that blanket that's got wrinkles on its wrinkles. Put a sheet on it. Maybe even your chatty coworker who keeps distracting you. Okay, Bounce Dryer sheets can't do it all. But for fresher, softer, better laundry, put a sheet on it with Bounce.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
This traffic is brought to you by Park & Go, your top choice for all covered airport parking. Stalled cars stopping traffic at the 435 and 70 exchange, the westbound lanes of 70 to southbound 435, and emergency vehicles northbound 35 sitting at the on-ramp from Lamar that is also stopping traffic. Heavy into downtown via northbound 35. Tackle your airport parking needs at Park & Go. Always the best service, always the best price. Open 24/7, fast and free shuttle services. All spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. Park & Go, family owned and operated. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's Hollywood Brown. Welcome to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Welcome back into The Drive on 96.5 The Fan. We're very happy right now to be joined by Mike Silver, one of the best columnists in the country. He does fantastic work with The Athletic. He also is an author of The Why Is Everything, which was released nationally on October 1st. You can get it on sale wherever you get books. Mike, happy to have you join us today for Chiefs and Niners.
Yeah, it should be a great one. As regular season games go, we should learn a lot more about the 49ers. I think we know plenty about the Chiefs, and it's the usual. They're pretty good.
So I want to get to your book here in a little bit, but I've been excited to ask you this question as someone that knows the Bay Area so much and has just been around so many great quarterbacks. Have you noticed a personality trait or a thing that is sort of uniform across all great quarterbacks? You covered Montana, Brady. We now live in the Patrick Mahomes era. I'm just curious if over your time you have seen, hey, all great quarterbacks possess this thing.
Yeah, and those are going to go down as three of the all-time greats. I think it's fair to say already at this point for Patrick. But, you know, I would say unbelievable unflappability under pressure, which is really hard when 280-pounders are bearing down on you, et cetera. Toughness. And, it just not feeling too big, which I think with Mahomes is something that I picked up on right away, and I don't know if that's from being around major league clubhouses as a kid or just the way he's made up or both, but just never felt like he was overwhelmed by any of it in any way. And then finally, I would just say, relentless competitive drive. And, I call Brady the most ruthless competitor that I've ever seen, but obviously Patrick has a lot of that too. And, look, I was really lucky early in my career to be around Montana and Steve Young every day, and then to cover Elway, Marino, Favre, Aikman, these incredible players, Warren Moon. So, I kind of look for those traits the best I can. But with Patrick, it just seemed evident from the beginning, and he's never wavered.
What have you noticed in your time from just being around Brock Purdy? It feels like there's always a lot of conversation about him. And one way where I think we're unfair to Brock Purdy is, this is the system that he's in, and he has made the most out of it. Whether it's been with Christian McCaffrey or Jordan Mason or Brandon Ayuk's holdout, he's been pretty solid for day one as the starter for San Francisco, yet there's a lot of questions about if you want to pay him and how much he is worth once his contract is up. Tell us a little bit more about Brock Purdy, what we don't know about him, and just your time being around him and just watching his ascension to being one of the better quarterbacks in the league.
Well, first of all, they are paying him. Kyle Shanahan basically decided that before Christmas of 2022. So I'll give you my opinion, but it doesn't really matter. He's the guy, and he's going to get paid. I happen to agree. And listen, I had some inside information because I was doing this book, and this stuff is in the book, The Why Is Everything, available everywhere. But I was spending a lot of time with Mike Shanahan during the spring and summer of 2022. And so after Purdy was drafted 262nd at last, to me that was an afterthought, and I was very interested in Jimmy Garoppolo, who seemed to be on his way out, Trey Lance, who was obviously the heir apparent. And when I would talk to Mike about these things, he kept bringing up Purdy. And there's something at 49er headquarters they refer to as the Shanacam, and that is code for Mike Shanahan wants to watch all the practices and meetings, as soon as he can from wherever he is. So he'd been seeing Purdy in OTAs at minicamp, and he definitely noticed something. before the first regular season game of 2022, where Trey Lance is getting ready for his debut as the unquestioned starter. I'm in Mike Shanahan's hotel room in Chicago. The Niners are getting ready to play the Bears. And he brings up Purdy again, and he says, when you have a guy like that in your building, you don't let him out. And apparently Mike Shanahan was onto this before anyone else, including Kyle, who's great at it. But listen, I think the kid is, in terms of his abilities, he's unbelievably accurate. He reads it and processes it quickly. He moves better than people think, and I think he's ascending. In terms of temperament, he may look like a kid who's, coming back from econ class at Iowa State, but he's a stone-cold killer. So I think Brock Purdy's going to get better and better, and no one is going to be Patrick Mahomes. Let me make that clear. In this generation, and I don't know about any generation, that's a different breed that we're talking about, in my opinion, and I don't even want to think about, what he has left in the second and third acts of his career. But I think Purdy's going to be one of those top guys for a long time.
Right now, we're talking to Mike Silver. Mike, the San Francisco Niners team is 3-3. Outside of injuries, is there another reason that you think this team just hasn't really been able to get that momentum going despite being one of the more talented rosters in the league?
Yeah, how much time do you have? It's always hard to come back from a Super Bowl defeat, and they call it the Super Bowl hangover for a reason, and only one team has rebounded from that and won it the next year in a long, long time. That was the Patriots with Brady. But, they changed defensive coordinators, and they're going with Nick Sorensen, who is untested. Brandon Staley, who did such a great job as the Rams defensive coordinator in 2020, is also in the building as assistant head coach. But I think that's a transition. The special teams have just been atrocious, and they've never been really good on special teams. And I know Chiefs fans are sitting here laughing at the punt that bounced off Darrell Luter's leg and changed the momentum in the Super Bowl with Mahomes throwing the touchdown one play later. But the special teams have been kind of a debacle, and that's hurt them. And, they have blown two games that they normally win to two teams that are not their equal, the Rams and Cardinals in the division. So it's an ugly 3-3. They really could be 5-1 and not a super impressive 5-1, but still, so I don't know a lot about them. They've beaten the Patriots. I don't think they're very good. They beat the Jets in Aaron Rodgers' first game in 400-something days. I don't know how to think about that. It was a nice win in Seattle last Thursday, and they kind of started to get, their joy back a little bit. But, I think they just have not been it's not just injuries. They just have not looked as sharp, and they haven't finished the way they normally do. And Brandon Ayuk, who they paid a bunch of money to after a long, drawn-out, dramatic offseason dispute, he's had one good game, but otherwise hasn't been part of the mix too much. And one really interesting thing is that Ricky Pearsall, their first-round draft pick, a wide receiver who could give them some of the things that they lacked in the Super Bowl with speed and suddenness and ability to beat man coverage. He's finally now practicing after a very scary ordeal where he was shot through the chest in a robbery attempt. And they didn't plan to play him this week, but he's looked so good in practice the last few days that I think they may activate him and play him in this game.
I think that Kyle Shanahan is going to be this generation's Bill Cowher. Bill Cowher was a phenomenal coach in Pittsburgh and just couldn't get over the hump, couldn't win a Super Bowl, and then sort of later in his career, he finally got one. They win the Super Bowl, and everybody was super happy for Bill Cowher because of the work that he had put in and the kind of reputation that he had built. I mean, Shanahan has had some pretty big flameouts, whether it was in Atlanta as the offensive coordinator or losing to Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in back-to-back Super Bowls. It feels like Kyle's eventually going to get one. I'm just not sure when that's going to be.
Well, I think he's trying to be Andy Reid, and that is, Andy Reid, when he won that first one in 2020, in the Bay Area and Northern California, they were devastated, but everybody else in the football world was so happy. I remember the combine vividly, being with Andy and having people just come up and hug him. And, for so long, he was such a good coach and so revered and just hadn't been able to do that. And now, of course, he's probably going to win 96 Super Bowls, and I don't think he should ever retire at this point, with what he's got going. But that's what Kyle's trying to do, and you're right. A lot of the book is, really focused on this, of course, but he kind of wore the Atlanta collapse when that normally would be on the head coach, Dan Quinn. And then, of course, the two Super Bowls against the Chiefs, the first one with a 10-point lead midway through the fourth quarter. And, I've been covering sports and watching sports a long time. There's some great players and coaches that didn't win championships because of Tom Brady and Michael Jordan. And I think some of that is just Patrick Mahomes is stealing joy along the way. But yeah, I do think Kyle's a really, really good coach. I think he's gotten better in a lot of the leadership and people skill areas. And, sometimes it's a very, very fine margin of error. On the other hand, every year people go, hey, who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl? And I think about it for about 30 seconds, and I go, it would be kind of dumb for me to pick against Andy and Patrick until proven otherwise, so I'm just going to pick them.
Last question here, Mike, and we appreciate your time. You've now written a couple of books. Tell us a little bit more about the book.
Well, I appreciate you. I had a long gap between my first several books and this one, and I wrote books back-to-back with Dennis Rodman and Kurt Warner. Doesn't get any more divergent than that, but, and the Kurt Warner book, they made into a movie 21 years later, so I've had a really, I'm really grateful for all the experiences I've had. This book really meant a lot to me because it really goes back to my early days as a young beat writer for the Santa Rosa Press-Democrat, covering the 49ers in the early 90s, watching Mike Shanahan come in as an embattled guy. He and Steve Young kind of resurrecting their reputations and doing great things, and that's kind of the jumping off point. And I've obviously followed this crew, Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, Raheem Morris, Mike McDaniel, Matt LaFleur, and all their offshoots for a long, long time, and kind of understood how different they are and how cool it is what they're doing along the way.
That is Mike Silver joining us on the show. He is one of the absolute best sports writers in the country. He is with The Athletic, and he also is the author of a new book, The Why is Everything. Be sure to grab that wherever you get your books. Mike, it was an honor and a privilege to have you join us today. Thanks a lot.
Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Coming up in a bit, I want to tell you guys why I'm picking Kansas City to win this game and go through some of the numbers. Rob, right now, who do you think is the best team in the NFC? I asked that question because San Francisco is a team that is usually in that conversation. They're 3-3 right now. I don't know if you can put them in that category. Washington has gotten off to a very good start. Minnesota is the only undefeated team in the NFC. I like both of the teams in the NFC South between Atlanta and Tampa Bay, and San Francisco is right there hovering around 500 at 3-3. Who do you think is the best team in the NFC?
I honestly think it's the Lions. And I know they just lost Aiden Hutchinson, but I don't think anyone has looked more impressive than the Lions. I know they ever lost the Bucs, but we now look back at lost the Bucs. I don't think we view it poorly. That's a team that's going to be a playoff team, and they had a couple turnovers that cost them the game at home. That happens. But when the Lions are clicking, when the Lions are playing at full capacity, I don't know anyone in the NFC can stop them. And if it weren't for really a fluky touchdown with Brandon Ayuk last year, I think we're talking about the Lions having played the Chiefs in the Super Bowl and them being the prohibitive favorite this year. I think they are the best team in the NFC, so I would say the Lions to your question.
It's going to be really interesting if Minnesota wins this game coming up on Sunday. I bring that up because I mean, the rest of their schedule is not difficult. They had the London game against the Jets. They won that. They've already won their road game against Green Bay. They also beat San Francisco earlier this year. Now, this division is no joke, but you've already won on the road against Green Bay, and if you win this week, you have at least won the first game against Detroit. I mean, after that, this schedule, it's kind of manageable. You play Jacksonville, Indianapolis, Tennessee, so you play the games in the AFC South. You play Arizona later on this year. You play Seattle. I mean, if you were asking me right now who ends up with the best record in the NFC, I would take Minnesota just because the schedule is there. I'm with you. I do think that Detroit is the best team, but I'm curious to see what happens with Aiden Hutchinson. I'm really intrigued by Washington and how they can keep this offense going over the course of the next couple of weeks or so. Like, you're not catching anybody off guard anymore. And for as much as I like this Commanders team and I think they've been fun, their 4 wins are the Giants, Bengals, Cardinals, and Browns. It's just not really that impressive of a stretch. Now, their schedule never really gets difficult. Their next 4 games are Carolina, Chicago, the Giants again, and they play Pittsburgh. So you want to talk about a team that can get out and run a little bit, and we can look up, and the Commanders are 8-3 on the season, and they're a team that we're looking at and taking very seriously. I think the Commanders are going to be in this conversation. The NFC is just so intriguing to me because of how wide open it is. You don't view it as being wide open in the AFC until otherwise proven. You got to go through Kansas City to get to your destination. I don't know who that team is right now in the NFC. It's traditionally been San Francisco. They're off to a slow start. The Lions just potentially lost their best player. Right now, if you were asking what quarterback is playing the best in the NFC, the answer is either a rookie in Jaden Daniels or it is Sam Darnold, who has never been a great quarterback. The NFC, to me, is just far more intriguing in terms of the storylines than what you're talking about with the AFC, just because of how wide open it feels.
It is wide open, and that is fun. With the Commanders, don't we see a team like the Commanders every year in the NFL, Carrington, where they are good, they are improved, no one is disagreeing with that, but a lot of their rise is very schedule-driven. What's the difference between the Commanders this year and the Texans last year? They are on the come-up. You feel like they have good things going for them. You feel like they found the quarterback, but a lot of what they're doing is they're playing a last-place schedule. And I feel like the Commanders might be the best team in the NFC, and maybe it's unfair by me to disqualify them, but I feel like too often that first-year rise, you eventually lose like the divisional round of the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair point. The difference I would point out a little bit with Washington is I don't know if there's an on-the-road against Baltimore that Houston had to run into last year. You remember, Houston won their first game at home against Cleveland. Then you go on the road to the best team in the regular season. I don't really see a scenario, and maybe I'm wrong, where Washington has to go on the road to Minnesota in the second week of the postseason. Maybe that's how this thing breaks down, and you're right. Eventually, we're going to have to see Washington get tested against the cream of the crop in the league, and there's not a whole lot of cream of the crop on this schedule. There's just not a lot of good teams on this schedule. We might not find out until the very end of the year when they play Atlanta, then they go on the road, and they got to play Dallas. They still go on the road and play Philadelphia. That's going to be a difficult game. The Commanders are a team that is very, very intriguing to me as this season keeps going. Coming up on the other side, let's get back to the Kansas City Chiefs. Nate Taylor's going to be on the show in 20 minutes, and I'll also tell you guys why I'm picking Kansas City on Sunday. Keep it right here, so Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Hey, it's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here. Let me tell you about my friends over at Gates Barbecue with 5 locations around town. You are never too far away from that classic barbecue taste. And let me tell you, Gates Barbecue, they're switching the menu up a little bit. Coming to all 5 locations, they are having the Burnt E-Mac. So with some incredible mac and cheese, they sprinkle a little Gates burn in on the top. It's delicious. They also have the Gates Chicken Link. They put that on a little hoagie bun. I have yet to try that, but the next time I go in there, I got to make sure that I get a taste of that Gates chicken link. So it doesn't matter if you're stopping by any one of the area locations to try out some of the new things on the menu, or you're going back to get some of the classics, some of the staples. You're getting the beef on bun, you're getting the presidential platter, you're getting the ribs, whatever it is, you know the Gates has you on that. Or the next time you go by the grocery store, make sure you get some of the seasoning, make sure you get some of the sauce as well to go with your grilling, or whether you're making some food for yourself at home. So remember, stop by any one of the 5 area locations. Check out the Burnt E Mac, check out the Gates Chicken Link, and they also have the chicken wings over at the one on the 103rd and State line. So they got it on the Missouri side, you over on the Kansas side. You can get some of the chicken wings as well. It's Gates Barbecue, doing it the old-fashioned way.
Hey, Chiefs Kingdom, as the official whiskey sponsor of the NFL, it's not a kickoff without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. And that's why we've built the Crown Royal Rig, an absurdly awesome 18-wheeler delivering the generous spirit to stadiums and tailgates across the country. Follow the Royal Rig on its journey from city to city, bringing together local cuisine, NFL legends, and the opportunity to pack a purple bag for charity and win tickets to Super Bowl 59. Visit crownroyal.com for rules and more. Please drink responsibly.
Calling all Kansas City football fans to downtown Las Vegas. Join us at Circa Resort and Casino this October for the ultimate game day getaway. Huddle up at Overhang Bar with 96.5 The Fan for our pregame tailgates on Fridays with drink specials and giveaways, including a pair of game day tickets. Then catch all the action at the world's largest sportsbook or lounge in the center of it all at America's favorite place to watch football, Stadium Swim, featuring 6 pools and a massive 143-foot screen. To book your Huddle Up experience, visit circalasvegas.com today.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
Ready to take your business to the next level? In today's fast-paced marketing world, staying ahead isn't just an option, it's essential. That's where scale marketing comes in. We don't just help you compete, we make sure you win. Whether you're looking to grow, expand, or overcome stagnation, Scale Marketing is your performance marketing partner. We specialize in helping mid-sized B2C companies with teams of over 100 thrive. Scale Marketing is a full-service agency offering expertise in performance marketing across traditional and digital platforms, creative production, and data analytics. We treat your money like it's our own, ensuring every dollar is spent with purpose and every decision is driven by data. Our knowledgeable team stays ahead of the trends, crafting strategies that align with your business goals. Partnering with Scale Marketing means gaining a dedicated strategist and a team committed to your success. If you're ready to lead the market, visit scalemarketing.com today. That's scalemarketing.com.
For more than half a century, contractors and trade professionals have relied on WeatherGuard for heavy-duty truck and van storage equipment, not just to protect their valuable tools, but to protect their professional reputations. For pros, the WeatherGuard badge makes a statement about what drives them. It says, "Bring it on. Been there. Done that. We've got your back," without saying a word. And the folks at WeatherGuard, they're just as driven as the hardworking pros they serve. See what it means to be driven at weatherguard.com.
Guess what, people? Wendy's has new saucy nugs. You heard me. Wendy's nugs now come in 7 saucy flavors. Buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, spicy ghost pepper. You can literally hear your taste buds after every bite. I'm serious. Listen to mine. Okay, that's just me playing with sound effects, but you got the idea. For a whole new way to nug, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's.
brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Mitchell Schwartz. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings located at 137th and Metcalf in Overland Park on Friday, October 18th. I'll be there with the crew from 6 to 8 p.m., eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. For more details, go to 965thefan.com.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Stalled car stopping traffic westbound 70 to southbound 435. Traffic heavy on the southern lanes of the downtown loop and southbound lanes of Overland Parkway off of 435 on the Metro Southwest side. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Chiefs fans, it's Trey Smith. Welcome to The Drive with C-Dot on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, I'm going to give you the two stats and maybe three stats why I'm picking the Kansas City Chiefs to win this weekend. You guys know I have no problem picking against the Chiefs if that's how I feel. That's just not how I feel this week. The three reasons I'm picking the Chiefs to win this game, they are very, very important. Number one, Andy Reid after a bye week. Did you guys know that Andy Reid has been a head coach in the NFL? This is his 26th season as a head coach in the league. So he's been doing this for quite some time. And you know what we love on this show? We love sample size. Andy Reid off a bye week. This is not even extended time. So this is not you play on Thursday Night Football and then you play the next Sunday. No, a true bye week. Andy Reid is 21-4. He is the best in the history of the National Football League. So wait, you were telling me that we have 25 examples of something. You want me to be on the side of the 4 and not the side of the 21. That's interesting. So that's one side of the coin. That's reason number one I am picking the Chiefs. Andy Reid off a bye. Be on that side. And you're telling me he's an underdog in that scenario? I feel very comfortable being in that position. The second biggest reason why I'm picking the Kansas City Chiefs to win this game is very similar to the first one. It's Patrick Mahomes as an underdog. Now, I know that not all of you gamble on these games, but you know what one pretty consistent theme is? You should always take the Chiefs if they are going to give you points and give you money for betting on them. The last time that we were in this situation, it was the Super Bowl. He was underdog. They won outright. So you're telling me once again in this scenario, you're going to give me the Chiefs as an underdog, and against the spread, he is 11-1-1? 10-3 straight up? Okay. So you're telling me Andy Reid off a bye. Very rarely loses. Patrick Mahomes as an underdog. He doesn't lose very often, period. Not as a favorite, not as a dog. 10-3 straight up. Okay. That's number one thing. And then number two, do you guys trust San Francisco to run the football in this game? Because I like Brock Purdy. I would say that I am more pro Brock Purdy than a lot of people are. I don't think you can count on San Francisco to run the football effectively in this game. There's no Christian McCaffrey. I don't know when Christian McCaffrey is coming back. Jordan Mason is banged up in this game, so I don't know what he's going to be able to provide you. I don't know how much he's going to be able to help. And if you were telling me that potentially, I don't know this to be a fact, but if you were telling me that potentially their number one running back is Isaac Gorindo, yeah, that team's not beating Kansas City. Not being one-dimensional. So for those three reasons, I have to pick Kansas City in this scenario. I think it's going to be close. This feels like a 23-20 game to me. This feels like a game that is really close down the stretch, but I trust Kansas City to make one or two more plays. You talk about Kansas City being banged up. San Francisco was in almost the exact same spot. They don't have Christian McCaffrey. His replacement is backed up. Their number one receiver this year is Jawan Jennings. He is dealing with an injury right now. Brandon Ayuk has never gotten going. He still hasn't scored a touchdown so far this season. A lot of things to me are pointing in favor of being on the side of Kansas City. I'm sure I will pick against Kansas City at some point. That game against Tampa Bay probably worries me more than it's going to worry you guys. That just feels like a game that the Chiefs lose. We've seen the Chiefs lose that game every year for the last 6 years. But at least this game against San Francisco, I'm picking Kansas City to win this game 23-20.
I actually have Kansas City by the exact same margin with the exact same score. But I'm going to ask you a question because we earlier did our Friday parlay where we made a 2-leg parlay for both college and pro football. And you told me, man, Vegas knows something and everyone's on one side. I like to zig when people zag. And that is not great logic for picking games. I get that. But Vegas, with all that information, because it's not like the people that make these lines are just bumbling oafs who have no idea. They have those Andy Reid stats. They have the injury report. They have those Patrick Mahomes stats. They still feel like the Niners are better. And I feel like if I pulled up my app and looked at where the money is going, I have a hunch most of the money's on the Chiefs. You told me earlier you like to zig when the book is zagging. It feels like you might be falling into a Vegas trap because why do they still have the Niners as the favorite knowing all those things? Because it can't just be home field because the rule of thumb with the home field is 3 points, but you're telling me all those other factors take away only 1.5 points?
Yeah, this is where I think sometimes, and this sounds crazy to say, that we give Vegas a little bit of credit. Rob, how much money have you made in your life by KU being a home underdog at Allen Fieldhouse?
Oh, live betting, it's a lot.
Think about that.
I've done well.
The computer algorithm tells you, well, I don't know. I think that BYU is about to win at Allen Fieldhouse. You're sitting there thinking, no, they're not. No, they're not winning this game. We think that Vegas knows something, right? BYU at Allen Fieldhouse is 3.5-point favorites. You can't wait to get on your phone and bet the other side. You're going to give me KU at home with plus money? I understand why the computer thinks San Francisco is going to win this game. I get it. These two teams feel very, very even. These two teams play close games, and San Francisco needs this game more than Kansas City. It certainly would not be a surprise if San Francisco wins this game. I'm just trying to think about what San Francisco is really good at right now. And I would say it's still running the football. Like, I know they don't have Christian McCaffrey. I mean, Jordan Mason is averaging 5.3 yards per carry. He is averaging 100 yards a game. Jordan Mason has performed like one of the top backs in the league. That system, that scheme works. I don't think you can count on them running the football effectively against Kansas City. I got to see one of these teams do it. And if you're telling me that their number one running back is going to be banged up, at least in terms of yardage, their number one wide receiver in Jawan Jennings is going to be banged up right now. Who knows what their kicking situation is right now? And their defense isn't the San Francisco defense of old. That's not a team that I can pick in this scenario. I just can't do it. Text line 913-586-7965. I certainly don't say this take as a homer, as I always am going to side with Kansas City. Just if you're telling me Andy Reid is 21-4, so that's a 80% win percentage coming off a bye. You're telling me Patrick Mahomes against the spread as an underdog wins at an incredibly 13 games against the spread. He has been the underdog. They have won 10 of those games outright and pushed the other one. All the math and all the money tells me bet on Kansas City. And maybe you lose, right? Like Andy Reid's lost coming off a bye. Patrick Mahomes has lost. KU has lost at Allen Fieldhouse before. The right side is to always be on picking KU in that scenario. Every single time, under every single scenario, I don't care how many points KU is down, the right side at any moment is to pick KU to win at home. The right side in this scenario is to be on Patrick Mahomes.
If you feel that confident, you should get on your local app before you leave for the Missouri side.
I've already done that, actually. I did that yesterday.
And you're going to make them the favorite. Because if you think they're going to win, don't just waste time on the money line.
Yeah,
make them the favorite.
So the line, I'll tell you what it took. I took Kansas City minus 2.5. I took the under on points, and I took that. I got it plus 260. The Chiefs win a somewhat low-scoring game. That sounds like basically the last 3 months of Chiefs games. That's exactly what has happened. The Chiefs have won 22-14. They put the clamps on in the second half, and they figure out a way to win. I think they do that this Sunday against San Francisco. Coming up on the other side, we'll be joined by Nate Taylor. We'll talk wide receiver at the top of the hour. I want to get his opinion. There's been a lot of news, a lot of back and forth about the Chiefs and wide receiver. I want to get his opinions. Keep it right here. So Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Stalled cars stopping traffic westbound 70 to southbound 435. Traffic heavy on the southern lanes of the downtown loop and southbound lanes of Overland Parkway off of 435 on the Metro Southwest side. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Celebrate your home team's Tully touchdown with Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. May your team be swift and their aim true. May the refs be forever in your favor and your whiskey always Tullamore Dew. Tullamore Dew, the original triple blended, triple distilled, smooth sipping Irish whiskey, made exactly for game day moments like this. Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume, imported by William Grant & Sons Incorporated, New York, New York. Please enjoy Tullamore Dew responsibly.
The NFL season continues on, and there's no better place to get in on the action than with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. And you can get started right now with $300 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. All right, let's make a same-game parlay for Sunday, Chiefs and Niners. I'm going to take the Chiefs. They're underdogs. You always take Patrick Mahomes if you're going to get the points. I'm going to take the over on passing yards for Patrick Mahomes as well. I'm also going to take Juju Smith-Schuster. I think Juju is going to emerge as the #1 receiver in that room. You can play that same game parlay or make your own. All you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/CDOT to make every moment more this season. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Can help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Chiefs coverage on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by award-winning Johnny's Barbecue in Olathe.
Football and barbecue fans, score big with Johnny's Barbecue tailgate packages. Whether you're hosting a home gate or a tailgate, Johnny's Barbecue has you covered. Check out our tailgate packages at johnny'sbbqkc.com. Located in Olathe and serving all of KC. Johnny's Barbecue. Taste the smoke.
It's a Red Friday on 96.5 The Fan, and the other place is your sports watching headquarters this fall. Now with 5 great area locations: Shawnee, Olathe, downtown Overland Park, Mission, and Belton. Enjoy Red Friday specials all day.
When it comes to car buying, you deserve options. So at Volkswagen Lease Summit, we have 3 incredible promotions to pick from. Choose no payments for 90 days, 0% APR for up to 60 months, or we'll double your down up to $3,000. Pick out your car, then pick your promo at VWLeaseSummit.com.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? Well, Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has helped over 35,000 families out of financial hardship by getting them out of bad timeshares, and they may be able to help you too. If you were misled into signing a timeshare agreement that is a lifetime commitment, if you were told timeshare is a great investment or your maintenance fees will never go up, you need to get the facts about timeshare cancellation. For over 10 years, Wesley Financial Group has been dedicated to helping folks get out of a lifetime of debt by canceling their timeshares. So they created a timeshare exit information kit, which reveals how the timeshare industry works and what your options are for cancellation. Simply call Wesley right now and they will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free. See how you can become timeshare free. Call 800-761-0000. That's 800-761-0000. Again, 800-761-0000.
It's better over here. If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has an exclusive rate plan just for you. Right now, get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings versus Verizon and AT&T. Plus, you can get one of the latest 5G phones free when you add a line. That's right, a free 5G phone. Experience all this and more on America's largest 5G network. So why wait? At T-Mobile, customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Just go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 or visit your local store to make the switch.
With autopay using debit or bank account plus taxes and fees, 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Free phones up to $300 off with 24 monthly bill credits and qualifying new line for well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Contact us before canceling entire account to continue remaining bill credits. Bill credits end if you pay off device early. See details at T-Mobile.com.
You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your new home for Chiefs football. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. He's been in the locker room since 2018 and has seen the Chiefs make the AFC title game every year. Coincidence? Who knows? But no one is more plugged into your Chiefs than Nate Taylor of The Athletic.
I know the Chiefs are probably calling teams to be like, hey, 6th-round pick, and I don't know if anybody's going to bite on that sort of trade offer.
And he joins CDOT every Friday at 4, right here on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan.
Welcome back into the drive on 96.5 The Fan. Nate Taylor is going to join us here coming up momentarily. I want to get his thoughts about wide receiver and what the Chiefs' potential plans are. Earlier this week, he is a believer that the Chiefs are going to make that trade and pick up a wide receiver at some point between now and the deadline.
Now you have a baseline of what to expect from, hey, if we make a trade, is it going to be a 3rd-round pick? Is it going to be a 4th-round pick? Obviously, you're not going to go towards a 2nd or a 1st-rounder. So the Chiefs can come back after this game against the 49ers and say, okay, we have another sort of sample size to assess our own receiving group. What receiver can help us sort of complement Travis Kelce and Juju Smith-Schuster? Is that a Deontay Johnson? Is that a Darius Slater? Those are some of the players that you could think about. If I have to say right now, I do think the Chiefs will make a trade for a receiver.
I think the Chiefs are going to make a trade at wide receiver as well. It just makes a lot of sense that this is what they are going to do. You look at a couple of the names. Deontay Johnson's name has been thrown out there. Darius Slayton is another name that's been thrown out there. Demarcus Robinson is another name. You know, he's very familiar with the Chiefs. I am surprised that they haven't made a move to go pick up MVS, at least on the practice squad. They don't have a lot of bodies at this point. It seems like that's a move that they would go out there and make. Rob, have you seen an injury designation for Juju Smith-Schuster? I know that he was limited in practice yesterday. I have not seen the injury report come across the timeline. Have you seen anything about Juju? What's his health? What's his status for Sunday?
I saw earlier today when Andy Reid spoke to the media, he said, I think he should be good to go, which is very Andy Reid speak, but you know, I don't think Andy Reid talks to the media on Friday and says, I think he should be good to go, and then turns around and ices him down on Sunday. So I imagine he'll be out there. Now, he was limited yesterday, so to what extent, I don't know, but I will imagine that you will see Juju Smith-Schuster on Sunday for the Kansas City Chiefs.
I want to play one thing for you quickly as Nate Taylor is set to join us here in studio coming up in just a little bit. We didn't get a chance to do this over the course of the week. No time like the present. I have a question. There are some teams I would obviously put inside the circle of trust. Kansas City is inside the circle of trust. Buffalo is inside my circle of trust. Baltimore is inside my circle of trust. You know what? Right now, I would put Minnesota inside my circle of trust. Are you putting San Francisco inside your circle of trust right now? We're talking about a 3-3 team, a team that is banged up right now, that doesn't have Christian McCaffrey. He has a pretty serious injury, and I'm not sure when Christian McCaffrey is coming back to this team. Jordan Mason is dealing with injury. They seem like the team that has the Super Bowl hangover, and how do we get back to that place? Right now, is San Francisco in or out? Are they in your NFL circle of trust?
Yes, they have to. I mean, maybe I am doing this based on 100% pedigree, and that's maybe not the best way to do it, especially as we near Halloween. Like, pedigree's not a great system, but they are too talented, too well coached, and I've seen them do it too often. It kind of reminds me, different reasoning. Remember how last year I was down on the Chiefs because they struggled most of the regular season. Like, they were kind of so-so in the regular season based on their own standards. And you in the text line kept telling me, and then the Chiefs, I've seen them do it. They're going to do it. They're going to be fine because we know the history and they tend to be fine. Kyle Shanahan makes the NFC Championship game basically always. Brock Purdy, George Kittle, Juwan Johnson, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, when healthy, they are good, basically always. That defense, who's been subpar this season, they're too talented to not figure it out. Fred Warner's the best linebacker in football. Nick Bosa's a top 5 pass rusher. They usually figure it out. So because of the pedigree and the fact I've seen them do it so often, I will keep them inside the circle of trust. But it's not anything to do with what I've seen on the field in 2024. It's a lot of, I know that team can do it.
And that makes a lot of sense to me. I do think it's interesting that at some point, I think we have to see what this year's version of San Francisco looks like. And I certainly understand it. When you have been to 4 of the last 5 NFC championship games and 2 of the last 5 to represent the NFC, I certainly understand the benefit of the doubt. And you're not going to throw dirt on them until you absolutely believe that they are dead. But what's the best version of this San Francisco team? They beat a Jets team that I think we now know was not that good and whose quarterback was making his first start in basically 2 years. You lost to Minnesota. That's a good team. You went on the road and you lost to the Rams, a team that's in your division, but it's been a little bit up and down. You lost to Arizona. You had injuries. You beat New England, of course, and then you beat Seattle. Like, there isn't really anything that you can kind of sink your teeth into this year and say, well, this is why I believe in this San Francisco team. Kansas City is undefeated right now. Baltimore has proved it so far this season. Buffalo has proved it so far this year. Detroit, Minnesota, Washington. Like, there's a handful of teams that you feel that way based off what you've seen over the course of the first 6 weeks of the season. There really isn't anything that San Francisco has done that you can point to this season for why they should be in the conversation with one of the better teams in the league.
It's 100% pedigree, and I acknowledge that. And maybe I look like an idiot. I mean, they're 3-3. They're the same as the Seahawks, and I don't want to speak for you. I don't think you believe in the Seahawks the same way you believe in the Niners. I definitely don't have the Seahawks in the circle of trust. So it is all pedigree. And I don't know what the Chiefs' record was at Week 7 last year off the top of my head. I could look it up. But the Chiefs had, at that point, lost the Lions. They had lost a couple games. They're probably 4-2, 3-3. They looked wounded early in the season. We all kept them inside the circle of trust. Maybe didn't feel like they were a Super Bowl team. They ended up being a Super Bowl team, but we didn't feel that way. We felt that way because Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, the power structure that was too good in Kansas City. That's how I feel about the Niners. I know they're 3-3. I know they're injured. I know they're banged up. I know they have some losses. They got smoked by the Vikings. They didn't just lose. They got walloped by the Vikings. So I understand all of it, but it's just to be the champ, you got to beat the champ mentality, and I haven't seen anyone in the NFC beat the champ, so to speak.
I do wonder with San Francisco if teams are going to start to handle these wide receiver holdouts a little bit differently than how we've seen them over the course of the last couple of off seasons. I mean, looking at Brandon Ayuk, he's gotten off to an incredibly slow start. Brandon Ayuk has less than 50 yards in 5 of the 6 games that San Francisco has had this year. He hasn't scored a touchdown yet so far this season. He hasn't been involved in the run game at all for them on an end around, a jet sweep using some of his athleticism. Like, if you paid Brandon Ayuk like he was one of those guys, like he was a top 15 receiver in the National Football League, that isn't how he's been. That I get it. I understand why you paid him. You got your quarterback on a rookie deal. You got to try to make the money work. So you got to try to field the best roster possible. But Rob, just looking at Brandon Ayuk, looking at his season so far, you and I talked a lot about it with Cincinnati. They had such a disjointed August that leads to you being disjointed at the early part of the season. I mean, doesn't that feel like San Francisco? San Francisco had a lot going on in August. Their number 1 draft pick got shot. Brandon Ayuk wasn't playing. Their left tackle wasn't there at any point in this offseason. San Francisco had a lot going on this offseason, and they've also gotten off to a slow start. Just something to track over the course of, I guess, next offseason. Right now, we welcome in our guy, Nate Taylor, welcoming in studio. I have a little bit of a hot take. I think that San Francisco's on the verge of missing the playoffs.
Ooh.
I think they're on the verge of missing the playoffs. I'm looking at their schedule right now. Now I imagine a lot of people listening right now have them losing this weekend.
Right.
That puts them to 3-4. Let's say they beat the Cowboys next week on Sunday Night Football because they always beat the Cowboys. Then, I mean, after their bye week, the second half of the season, they've got on the road against Tampa Bay, on the road against Green Bay, on the road against Buffalo. They play Detroit, and they go on the road to play Arizona, a team that has already beat them earlier this season. That seems to me like a team that goes 9-8. There's a lot of, and that's just, those are the the ones that are the 50-50 games.
Right.
That's not saying that you lose a home game to the Rams. That's not saying that Tua gets healthy for the second part of the season and you lose on the road to Miami. I think San Francisco's in a little bit of a tough spot because the NFC is a lot more difficult than we thought it was going to be.
Correct. They're basically going to have to, based on your hypothesis, Carrington, they're going to have to sweep basically weeks 14 through 18 to get into the playoffs if they have a very rough middle of the season already, starting this year, in a 3-3 just kind of start. So, yeah, they'd have to beat the Rams, who would be, I would think, tanking at that point. Who knows with Miami and Tua's situation. Detroit probably needs that game on December 30th for the 1 seed potentially. And then, maybe that's the Sunday night end of season game at Arizona. Whoever wins sort of gets in. But yeah, it's not an easy road. And this is something that has been a track record with Shanahan with the 49ers. I mean, everybody understands how great they were in 2019 with Jimmy Garoppolo, but the next season it was not great. They were 6-10, didn't make the playoffs. They go through a number of certain moves and acquisitions. Okay, you get back to the AFC Championship game. We all know what happened, in 2022. It's unfortunate. Brock Purdy got hurt. They never even, challenged the Philadelphia Eagles, and then last year they make it to the Super Bowl. So this is natural. It's hard for the Super Bowl losing team to come back and be just as good, if not better, the year before. And based on what you're saying about Ayuk, which I've watched the tape and it's been really odd to see him struggle at times. This is the first time this season where Brock Purdy's had to go above what Shanahan has schemed. And that's great for the development of your quarterback. But what made Brock Purdy so excellent last year was, man, the scheme's great and I have the Avengers. This is awesome. Whereas now you take one guy out. One guy has a holdout. Your first round draft pick, unfortunately, got shot and has not played. Trent Williams had a holdout situation. For whatever reason, based on injuries, how difficult it is to stay consistent in this league, the quarterback has to have gone above the scheme, and he has not succeeded as well as I thought he would, given how good of a coach Shanahan is at exploiting teams' weaknesses and getting guys like Deebo Samuel and Brendan Ayuk the ball in open space.
Coming up on the other side, I want to get Nate's opinion on what the Chiefs are going to potentially do at wide receiver. I'll also tell him why I'm picking Kansas City to win this game. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics, 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
You've been waiting, and now is the time. Golden Oak Lending has fixed mortgage rates at 4.875%. But don't wait, this rate won't last forever. Call today and take advantage of our low 4.875 fixed rate. Call 913-890-GOLD. That's 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
5.784 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity, qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Hey, it's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here for our new friends over at Heartland Men's Health. Did you know that over half of men over the age of 50 experience erectile dysfunction, and it can also affect younger men as well? ED just isn't a medical issue. It can take a toll on your confidence and your relationship. Well, at Heartland Men's Health, they believe that ED is treatable, and their expert team is offering up solutions with a success rate of over 90%. I want you to take back control, and just for $99, your initial visit includes a medical consultation, some tests, and even a test dose. And if that doesn't work, then your visit is free for the price of on the house. So check out one of their 3 area convenient locations, Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City. Men, do not settle. Pick up the phone and call Heartland Men's Health today at 844-447-6600 or check out the website, heartlandmenshealth.com.
Good business owners believe two things. You have to provide what the customers want, and you have to keep the fire marshal happy. Pleasing the customer can be tough, but pleasing the fire marshal is easy. Keller Fire and Safety has been doing it for more than 70 years. Fire extinguishers, alarm systems, fire detection, kitchen hood suppression systems. Keller handles all of these so you can focus on business.
Keeping the fire marshal happy since 1950. Keller Fire and Safety. KellerFire.com.
Hey, Chiefs Kingdom, as the official whiskey sponsor of the NFL, it's not a kickoff without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. And that's why we've built the Crown Royal Rig, an absurdly awesome 18-wheeler delivering the generous spirit to stadiums and tailgates across the country. Follow the Royal Rig on its journey from city to city, bringing together local cuisine, NFL legends, and the opportunity to pack a purple bag for charity and win tickets to Super Bowl 59. Visit crownroyal.com for rules and more. Please drink responsibly.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru, and our hotline is open. Annie from Kansas City, what's on your mind?
I want a dealership that I can trust for a lifetime. Is that you?
We're Google's highest review rated and only locally owned Subaru retailer in Kansas City. That's a good start.
I just want a great deal. That's all.
How about 0% financing on select 2025 Subaru models? That'll get you a low monthly payment. Fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru.
Google highest review rated Subaru retailer in Kansas City based on 2023 Google Analytics.
Dick Ray, he's your cooling magician. Dick Ray, he's a man on a mission. When it's hot and humid, your AC's failing and it's causing quite the fuss. There's an AC expert you know that you can trust. He's there for us. Call Dick Ray, he's your cooling magician.
Hey, it's Dick Ray. Schedule your AC tune-up, only $79. 913-DICK-RAY.
Hey, Kansas City, this is Jeff Briggs with Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, home of the Victory Effect, our pledge to drive down vehicle pricing for the city we love. I have some fantastic news to share with you all as we usher in the Ram Power Days for the month of October. MSRPs have dropped, rebates have increased, and the Federal Reserve has finally lowered interest rates. So along with that, Chrysler has just announced incentivized rates across our entire product lineup. Now, through the end of the month, well-qualified buyers can get rates as low as 4.9% for 72 months on all 2025 Ram 1500s in stock. Not only can you take advantage of this great interest rate program, but as you all know, I'm going to throw unprecedented discounts on top of the incredible rates to get you an affordable monthly payment. If a Jeep or SUV is more of your liking, then come check out the new Wrangler or the new Jeep Grand Cherokee with special rates as low as 0% and once again paired with Victory's industry-leading pricing. Visit us at Kansas City's only automotive outlet mall, the Legends Auto Plaza, on the southeast corner of 435 and Parallel, just east of Nebraska Furniture Mart, or online at victorymotorskc.com, where our first price is better than their last.
Celebrate your home team's Tully touchdown with Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. May your team be swift and their aim true. May the refs be forever in your favor and your whiskey always Tullamore Dew. Tullamore Dew, the original triple blended, triple distilled, smooth sipping Irish whiskey, made exactly for game day moments like this. Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume, imported by William Grant & Sons Incorporated, New York, New York. Please enjoy Tullamore Dew responsibly.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
This traffic is sponsored by Park and Go, your top choice for all covered airport parking. Emergency vehicles eastbound 435 just past Knoll. They are on the right shoulder, but we are seeing traffic back up behind there. Also, a two-car crash in Olathe, southbound 35 just before Santa Fe Street. That is closing the right lane. Tackle your airport parking needs at Park and Go. Always the best service, always the best price. Open 24/7, fast and free shuttle services. All spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. Park and Go, family owned and operated. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's Nick Bolton, MIZ. Welcome to the Drive with C-Dot on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, Nate Taylor, there's so many things I want to ask you about. I've been really excited for you coming on the show all week. Let's start with the number one thing I have issue, problem. I don't know the exact phrasing I want to use for this. I really don't know. because I knew we can never question the greatness of Brett Veach.
Right.
Can you explain to me why they didn't trade for Amari Cooper? We talked about it on this show. Rob was here. I said the two teams that make the most sense to go get him are Buffalo and Kansas City.
Right.
They are almost in the exact same position from a wide receiver standpoint. He is only owed less than $800,000 between now and the end of the season. And the Chiefs have 2 third-round picks. So you could trade one of those third-round picks and not lose any of your original assets to go get him. It just doesn't make sense to me why the Chiefs were not in on Amari Cooper, because their third-round pick, especially because they have Tennessee's third-round pick, is better than Buffalo's third-round pick.
Yes, that is the assumption, yes.
Help me understand why the Chiefs did make the trade for Amari Cooper.
Okay, I know the first thing is he's 30 years old. And so Buffalo is really making this move for this year, where the Chiefs would like to, hedge it a sense to have the trade be about this year and maybe multiple years, i.e. the Kadarius Toney trade. Now they've already, brought back Juju Smith-Schuster. So you can say in essence, they've already done the McCole Hardman trade from last year. I don't think the Chiefs really made a phone call to Cleveland, and I don't think the Chiefs felt Amari Cooper was like the top option available to them, considering some of the other players that we have talked about before on the trade market. This is a bigger, I want to remind people, this is a bigger trade market at the receiver position ahead of the trade deadline than we've seen in quite a while.
Have they called about Deontay Johnson?
I would imagine that has happened.
Okay.
Have you seen the Deontay Johnson information this week?
I also would have guessed that they called about Amari Cooper. I would have assumed that they had called about Amari Cooper. You're telling me you don't think they called about Amari Cooper?
I really don't think. I don't think they really called about Amari Cooper.
Have they called about DeAndre Hopkins, you think?
Probably, yes. Actually, yes. I would say yes. I don't know that for certain, but there's been mutual appreciation for one another on both sides of that. So yes, I think you would probably call Tennessee. Now Tennessee might be hesitant because you've already made the trade for L'Jarius Sneed. It would be one thing
to then give them the pick basically right back.
Yeah, that would be a little bit tough from a perception standpoint. But hey, do what you got to do that particular day to make your team better for the future, right? I just think Davante Adams was so clearly the best option, and he was never a possible avenue for the Chiefs to really pursue, because the Raiders were not going to trade him to them for him to turn around and play them twice in the remaining of the season. And his contract is a little bit more hefty than all these other options, where I think the Chiefs feel like they could get a younger player who could be just as, if not maybe even more productive, if everything goes perfectly, if you do make a trade between now and the deadline.
Right now, we're talking to Nate Taylor answering our wide receiver questions. If you guys have one, 913-586-7965. I want to get all my wide receiver questions out of the way, and then we'll dive deeper into the game. Do you think on November 4th, I guess it's 5th because the deadline is the 5th.
Yeah,
so
it's
the 6th.
election day.
Yeah, the 6th. Do you think on November 6th that the Chiefs will have 2 third-round picks?
No, I do not. I think they've shown you this before, and the market has already told you that's the line of what a team can get back.
There's also just not that many players that you would think are worth that third-round pick. It's
right.
I mean, DeAndre Hopkins, but you just mentioned, and I understand why the Titans wouldn't want to
do that. Yes,
like Darius Slayton is not a player I'm trading a third-round pick for. I would trade for Darius Slayton.
Yes,
I am not giving you the.
He might be the best consolation prize. Yes,
I'm not giving you the 81st overall pick for Darius Slayton. He's not worth that in my opinion.
Yeah. So, and by the way, to your point, every team, whether it's Carolina, the New York Giants, maybe even Tennessee, hey, we want that Tennessee pick. We don't want your original third-round pick. So that would kind of be the first part of the negotiation once the player and the team is comfortable, obviously, giving their rights to whoever the receiver is. So,
I do have this question. I'm sorry to cut you off. I do have this question. Is there a wide receiver that we are not talking about that you think makes sense? Because I think we can find Brett Veach trends. Okay, the reason I bring this up is we know the kind of receivers and players that Brett Veach likes.
Yep.
You were a failed first-round pick, a failed second-round pick. You've still got 2 years left on your contract. We trade for you. So I was throwing a name out there. Like Christian Watson would make sense to me. He is clearly...
I loved Christian Watson coming out of the draft, too.
He is Green Bay's third or fourth pick. A guy like Alec Pierce, who was in his third year. Like, I'm just trying to think outside of the box. And if they're not going to get these one or two guys, is there somebody who is at the tail end of his rookie contract you would have under contract for next year? Because their wide receiver issue is just not a 2024 issue.
Yes.
It's also a 2025 issue.
Which is why I think Amari Cooper was not a real, like, intriguing option to them, because he wasn't going to help them moving forward. Whereas somebody who's a free agent in 2025 happens to play for the Los Angeles Rams. And guess what, Carrington? He's 5'9", 165, and he's got blazing speed.
They trade for Cooper Kupp.
No.
Okay.
Does Rob know who I'm talking about?
Oh, my God.
Who I'm talking about, Rob?
Is that Van Jefferson?
No.
They're going to get...
No, that's Tutu Atwell, my friend.
Oh, well, who can forget Tutu Atwell?
Tutu Atwell.
Hold on, you're telling me. I want to
You
make
just
sure.
said name a name that ain't nobody talking about.
Okay, I just want to be clear here. You were telling me that you believe there is a chance that on the ESPN bottom line it says that the Chiefs trade for a wide receiver on the Los Angeles Rams, and it's not Demarcus Robinson? No chance. No chance.
Well, the problem is DeMarcus is 30. Now, he does know the system, and he does have familiarity with Patrick Mahomes. I get that.
That makes him public enemy number one for them to go trade for.
But again, we should be in the room with Brett Veach, with Andy Reid, Matt Nagy, and be like, what about 2025?
I would love Tutu Atwell. I didn't even think that was a realistic possibility. Tutu Atwell, of all of these secondary, I'd rather have him than have Darius Slayton if those are my two options.
Okay, because the understanding is Cooper Kupp not getting traded. Puka Nacua, obviously he's their future. Tutu Atwell is going to be a free agent next year. So if you are not certain that you're going to bring him back, get something, fourth round pick when you took him in the second round.
I like that.
I'm just saying. So, again, that's a name that might surprise some people, but it might, make sense for the reasons that I've said earlier. Of course, I think the most logical one is Darius Slayton when you consider the contract of the base salary and the fact that he's 27.
Don't they already have Darius Slayton on their team?
What's his name? Juju?
Yeah, is that Darius Slayton just okay. Now I think there's two different things.
Okay.
They don't have a lot of healthy bodies right now
Correct.
at the position. So if you're telling me that they go get Darius Slayton and let's say they do a smaller move and they feel like they just need bodies,
right?
Okay, but Darius Slayton is a number 3 wide receiver in the league. That's what he is.
And this is what you're hoping for. You're hoping, and now this is some cross league comparisons. But you're hoping, this is going to sound crazy, you're hoping Darius Slayton is Aaron Gordon. Can you just be Aaron Gordon for us? Can you just, get some buckets, play good defense, rebound the ball? We already got Jokic. We already got Jamal Murray. We just need somebody who's capable, who's a nice option alongside Travis Kelce, Juju Smith-Schuster, and an emerging Xavier Worthy. That's what you're hoping for. You're hoping to create a bigger margin of error, Carrington.
I agree with you.
You're not. I mean, I think the home run is clearly Deontay Johnson, who, if you haven't heard yet, kids, Deontay Johnson not practicing this week because even he know he want to be traded. So I think Deontay Johnson is now the top of the market in terms of somebody who wants to trade for him. So, hey, if you want to give that Tennessee third-round pick to the Carolina Panthers,
you can definitely go get Deontay Johnson. And if you're Deontay Johnson, I mean, going to a place like Kansas City to rehabilitate your image makes a lot of sense. Like, you got traded to Carolina because you were the disgruntled one.
Yes.
Like, they had a choice. It was you or George Pickens, and they determined that you were the one that needed to go.
Which is crazy.
They determined that you. And you're also trying to get paid this offseason, so go out there and get him. A lot of people are asking about Christian Kirk as a possibility. I don't think they're trading for his contract.
Yeah, how much money is Jacksonville willing to eat? Because
they better eat a lot of it if they're trading with Kansas City.
Because the funny thing is they do get some cap relief if they do trade him, which is why he's a viable option. He has void years in 2026 and 2027, so you would have him for next season, right? Again, kind of that a little bit older, but in the same vein of, hey, we still have him under contract the following season, like they did with Kadarius Toney. His cap hit in 2025, according to Over the Cap, is $24 million.
They're not trading for that player.
Hey, dog, how much we eating? Or are you coming over And we are ripping that up, and we are restructuring a more market leveling contract for you that hopefully looks really, really good in 2027, because at that point you would basically be 30, but you wouldn't be making top 10, top 15 money at your receiving position because you already did that before in your career with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
All right, I have one more wide receiver question, and we can move on from this.
Okay.
On Wednesday, October 23rd, is MVS back on the team?
I can't, guys. I can't. I'm sorry. This is now okay. Let me talk. Let me talk out of both sides of my mouth.
Oh, here you go. That would make all the sense in the world.
Let me talk out of both sides of my mouth. This is, of course, you're asking me this as if like no one gets injured against the 49ers. No one gets injured against the Raiders the next week. Okay. On one end of my mouth, those two do not need to be together ever again. They caught lightning in a bottle 2 Januaries in a row. You do not need to put that kind of mental burden on Patrick Mahomes. And the tape is just shown, man. When you meet the cliff, that's a high cliff, man. And the fall is precipitous. So who knows if Marquez Valdez-Scantling has anything left. And I say that in the most gentle way possible based on what I've seen on film this year and a lot of the struggles he went through last year, right? Okay, for everybody's sanity, they need to trade for somebody. Do the right thing. Trade, like, I know it's easier.
I can just see them doing both, though. I can see them.
No.
This is what I think. If you want mine, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to give you my theory. This is what I think is going to happen. I think next week, MVS is going to be brought back on the practice squad.
Boy.
And then they make a trade next week to give yourself a couple of more weeks. That's what I think.
Hey, Deontay, if we bring you over, you okay with have you met Marquez? Are you okay with him? Can you rock with him for a couple months? Hey, Pat, you know, because when they called Pat about Juju, Pat was like, oh, yeah, let's do it. Sure.
Yeah,
man,
Pat definitely vouched for bringing Juju back.
It really sucks that, like, Hollywood got hurt on the first snap of the preseason, but he might come back. But, like, hey, somebody who's, you know, professional, stability, knows where to be, knows how to work against zone, knows how to play off Travis. Yeah, bring him in. How do you think that phone call is going to go? I don't even know if that phone call's happened yet, but how do you think that phone call's going to go if they're going to say, hey, Patrick, Marquez wants to come back home?
I don't know, because I would have guessed, because the only reason I bring that up is I bring it up is because it wasn't that long ago people felt this way about McCole. Remember McCole was playing Call of Duty and he didn't know the playbook, and they brought McCole Hardman back. Like all the complaints that people have about MVS, they had about McCole Hardman. McCole Hardman came back.
I know him and McCole are tight. I know he likes McCole Hardman. Everybody likes McCole Hardman. Like, there's something about McCole, and
he's just a fun guy to be around.
Yes, I think there's something about McCole and Clyde Edwards-Helaire that, like, the average fan just can't understand, and I get it. But, like, being around both of those guys, they are team players who are fun personalities, who are very good at football. It's just, you know, there's levels to this at the NFL level, and, like, you know, our bodies deteriorate over time. But, like, in the locker room, gonna get the job done. You can rely on them in a random game or the Super Bowl. Like, yes, I could try to say that about Marquez. Man, you'd have to hypnotize him and say it's the AFC Championship game. You just would. And again, guys, maybe the training staff can help him the same way that the training staff clearly knows how to handle Juju Smith-Schuster, because it clearly wasn't working in New England. But also, I just don't know if Pat feels the same way about Marquez the way I know he feels about Travis, Rashid. He's really starting to love working with Xavier, and you're going to see that over the next month. And of course, McCole Hardman and Juju Smith-Schuster. I think they were like, hell, I'll just say it. There was a lot of people in the organization who were really happy for Marquez because he was already cut. And then he had 2 really good catches against Buffalo, and people were like, wow, that was great. That's a bonus. And that they were like thrilled for him when he caught the game sealing reception against the Baltimore Ravens. And they were like, you know what, like, that's a perfect end to the season. It's kind of a perfect end to the relationship. And then, of course, on 4th and inches, like in a huddle with Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Matt Nagy, it's Marquez Valdez-Scantling that says, hey, what about sliding keys? What about we run that play? Because, is Nick Bosa crashing down? And they said, yes. Well, why don't we do sliding keys? Because it gives Patrick an option on his legs and his arms. And they said, wow, that's a really good play call. They let him call a play on 4th and inches in overtime after he caught a pass and ran 4 yards backwards. I mean, he's a little, he's something.
I think that's a really good way to put it.
That's the way I can say it.
That's a really good way to put it.
I know,
He's something.
hopefully the audience knows what I'm talking about, but you know who that coworker is. Really smart, really talented. He a diva. He's a diva in a way that no one else I've described earlier is. And his skills have, midway through last season, Carrington, he couldn't catch the ball, which is half his job. So there's a reason why Buffalo released him. And you have to be aware of that as well, because he's not hurt. But I also think too, I just don't know what him and his relationship with Patrick are in a way that I know it's good. When they brought back McCole Harbert, I said, well, this isn't going to please everybody, but it works because everybody likes McCole, and McCole will be back into the system. And hey, McCole kind of got a taste of what it was like to be on another organization and realized, ooh, it ain't always great.
It's way better here than it was over there. Yeah, no, he was
going to come in and be, guess what? A diligent, hard worker.
That was definitely grass is greener on the other side. Yeah, no, I definitely get it. Let me ask you this. So let's eliminate the Super Bowl in Tampa Bay, right? That is there will never be a Super Bowl like that one, right?
Okay.
You have been to 3 other Super Bowls. You have been to Miami.
Yep.
You have been to Vegas for the Super Bowl. And where was the Philadelphia one at?
Arizona.
Yeah, it was in Phoenix. It was in Phoenix. What was different about this most recent Super Bowl than the first 2 that you went to?
You can't kick my criticism of Kyle Shanahan is you can't kick a field goal there. You just can't. You can't. You just can't kick a field goal there. It's one thing if you don't know the overtime rule, because that was the first time it had ever been unveiled, especially in the Super Bowl. It was just a formality. That's what it felt like to me. Oh, they're getting the ball. They have to score. They have to go, 70 yards, get a touchdown. Oh, I should start writing right now. That's what was different about the first 2, where it was okay, Philly was a really good team, back and forth. That's the best game Jalen Hurts probably will ever play. The first Super Bowl really was, and I've said this to you before, Carrington, that is a historically great defense that no one remembers, man. They were dominating that game for 3 quarters, and then Mahomes kind of in real time, for a certain group of people of my same age range, my man turned Super Saiyan in real time. As soon as he made that, Chip Wass completion to Tyreek Hill, he never made another mistake the entire game. You know how hard that is to do down 10 with 8 minutes left? I'm just gonna, every pass is going to be great. Every decision is going to be awesome. We're going to score every touchdown available to us. And instead of being down 10, we're going to win by 11. He just went into a mode that is just it was shocking at the time, because it's they had D4 was their 4th best pass rusher, and he was healthy and he was good. Whereas in Vegas, it was oh man, this game should not be this close. You all kind of know it. It's what happened in '98, where Kyle Shanahan is basically doing the same thing that Carl Malone is doing, which is hey, I have the ball. Cool. No, Carl, he's right behind you. He's going to strip you of the ball, walk down the court, and take your heart out. You cannot kick a field goal there. Even though you mess up the protection on 3rd down, even though it's hey, it gives Patrick Mahomes 4 downs. 4 to get 10 yards.
That was the argument that I had, because people were making the argument, hey, the defense was tired. I'm sorry. You
got to go for it.
And with the overtime rules, it is impossible for you to win the overtime